to Buffalo. This is Len Berman, where it's raining. The field is wet. Bills defensive coordinator Wade Phillips told me not optimum conditions for his pass rush. In week number 2, they were able to sack Neil O'Donnell 8 times. They may not be able to muster that kind of pressure today with the wet field. Tom.
All right, Len, and the Jets trying to hold on to first place. It has been a long dry spell for them since the 70 merger. They have not won an AFC East title. Jets have won the toss. They will receive. That means Steve Christie has it teed up for Buffalo. And the deep men, Glenn and Johnson for the Jets. The Bills have allowed 3 kickoff returns for touchdowns, including one by Aaron Glenn this season. Christie's kick to Johnson. Leon Johnson crosses the 30 to about the 33-yard line, tackled by Derek Holmes, a 14-yard return, and good field position for the New York Jets. On the offensive line, Elliott, Pollard, Duffy, O'Dwyer, and Williams. Lamont Burns, a rookie from East Carolina, expected to back up O'Dwyer. Could see his first NFL action today. O'Donnell back at quarterback. Morrell, Neal, Johnson, Graham, and Brady. The running attack of the Jets, which has been woeful at times, showed signs of recovery last week. Combined total over 100 yards. O'Donnell's pass. Fred Baxter in a 2 tight end formation to open the game. Unable to make the catch. It'll be second down. Buffalo has gone to a 4-man front. They had a 3-man front the last time. Second week of the season they played the Jets. Hanson, the formidable Washington, Moran, and of course one of the greats of all time, Bruce Smith. Polasek replacing the injured Chris Spielman. Rodgers, then Burris, Smith, Jones, and Schultz in the secondary.
And for the first time really since that first Jets game, they were opening in the 3-4 defense, Tom.
That means Mark Maddox is in a linebacker spot and Moran is out. Adrian Morrell finds tough going. Bruce Smith playing the run tough.
Yeah, Bruce Smith, what he does, they reduce both sides, both defensive ends, so that puts Bruce Smith down over the guard, O'Dwyer, and when he pulls, Bruce Smith fills in the backside. You cannot block down with a tackle and get Bruce Smith. His first step off the ball, disregard 13th year there. His first step is as fast as any rookie defensive end in the league right now.
3rd and long. This is the situation Bruce Smith loves. 6 defensive backs for Buffalo, 4 wides for the Jets. From the gun, O'Donnell zips it downfield and way overshoots his intended receiver. It was Dedrick Ward. And so 3 and out for the Jets on their first possession.
And what he got was late pressure from Bruce Smith, and he did exactly what Bill Parcells loves to see his quarterbacks do. You take your step, you look back, there's no receiver, just chuck it and get rid of it. Don't hold it.
Brian Hansen will punt for the Jets. There you see his numbers. Jeff Burris awaits the boot. Low line drive. Burris at the 20. Looks for a spot. Nothing there. Wrestled down at about the 24-yard line by Ray Lucas, who was first to arrive on the scene. Only a 4-yard return after Hansen had punted it 46 yards. Well, the Buffalo offense has been anemic, to put it mildly. The offensive line, one of the chief culprits, Fina, Brown, Ziegler, Lucina, and Ostrowski. Todd Collins, sort of a crisis of confidence for him. Thurman Thomas only 4 yards against the Oilers last week. 2 tight end formation, Early and Reed, dangerous wide receivers.
And Buffalo's going to try to pound the ball. Watch Ernie Logan at the nose guard, Tom. This guy is really coming on for Bill Parcells' defense.
First down pass. Collins swings it complete to Thomas. Makes a nice move to get free. He's at the 35, close to the 40-yard line, and knocked out of bounds there by Otis Smith. 15-yard gain. Swing pass with touch on it from Todd Collins. Just got it over the defender's hands.
A good play call by Dan Henning upstairs, the offensive coordinator for Buffalo. They're thinking smash mouth. You give him a little touch pass. Rick Lyle, the defensive end, couldn't quite get to that, and Thurman Thomas is used sparingly in the passing game the last 5 or 6 weeks, but he's a highlight so far.
4th leading receiver on the season. That was his 26th reception. On the ground, Thurman Thomas bouncing to the outside, makes a nice cut up. Look like the Thurman Thomas of old as he crosses the 45 to the 46. Tackled there by Marvin Jones.
55, Marvin Jones.
Front three for the Jets, Lyle, Logan, and Douglas.
7-yard gain.
Lewis, Gordon, and Jones, along with the rookie Ferrier at linebackers. Glenn, Smith, Green, and Henderson. Otis Smith, of course, is the man with the bullseye. He's given up, 8 touchdown passes this season. Bills already have 7 yards rushing, more than all last week against the Oilers. Thurman Thomas, bursting free and spurting down to the 41-yard line. James Ferrier saved the touchdown, a 12-yard gain. We heard Thurman Thomas on the pregame show, and he is off to a great start today.
Watch the combination blocking right in the heart of the Bills' offense. That has been a weak point this year. But with a tight end, Remersma in there as a lead blocker, almost a lead fullback, that makes the difference. And defense sets the tone. Defense tells you if you're ready. And Thurman Thomas in the offense is taking advantage right now of the Jets' defense.
Antoine Smith replaces Thomas and gets the call here. Stopped on that side. He'll reverse his field. Has a little seam. Antoine Smith just tripped up at the 20-yard line. Brilliant run by the rookie who is the leading rookie rusher in the NFL. That one covered 21 yards. Aaron Glenn just tripped him up.
And this is the 1-2 combination the Buffalo Bills were counting on earlier this year of really making the difference. The reason it hasn't made the difference is the blocking up front. Well, the blocking up front isn't there on this play, but now you see why this young man out of the University of Houston is so highly thought of by these Bills coaches, because he has the ability, like Thurman Thomas, to create.
Bills have rushed 3 times for 40 yards. What a turnaround from a week ago. Collins, his pass is broken up. Quinn Early, the intended receiver, the ball a little high, and Otis Smith was able to get up and knock it free.
You mentioned earlier how pathetic this offense has been. Well, Todd Collins and this offense right now have got confidence. Puts the ball exactly where it should be with a tight coverage like that to his receiver Early. It was a little bit high, but it should have been caught by Quinn Early.
Second and 10 for the Bills. Opening drive for Buffalo in the game after New York went 3 and out. Collins stands in the pocket wide open. Catch made. Touchdown. Andre Reed. Todd Collins to Andre Reed as the Jets swamped on that first series. Collins hitting Reed, and for Andre, the 81st touchdown reception of his career.
If you were worried about whether or not the Jets would be ready to play a Bills team they should be, right now you know the defense isn't.
And the extra point by Christie is good. Todd Collins and Andre Reed makes the catch, goes down to get it, and scrambles into the end zone. 7-0 Buffalo.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, who reminds you fresh beer tastes better. By Century by Buick. Discover a little luxury in this century. By Subway, the way a sandwich should be. And by IBM, solutions for a small planet.
Well, you can excuse Buffalo fans if they thought someone was just as likely to go over Niagara Falls in a barrel as the Jets to score a first quarter touchdown. But they have done that, and they lead 7-0 as Christie kicks off. Dedrick Ward and Leon Johnson, the deep men. This will be Johnson from the 5. And a pretty nice return as he backs his way to the 35-yard line. That's a 30-yard return. Look at the first quarter scoring coming into today's game. The Bills last in the NFL. But this was a turnaround.
You want to see a nightmare matchup for the New York Jets. Watch right here. Andre Reed and Mo Lewis, an outside linebacker. This has got to be a blown coverage. There's no other explanation for it. Mo Lewis should have help behind him. They don't. And Dan Henning and the coaches upstairs exploit the Jets defense.
And for the first time in 17 games, the Bills have scored a first quarter touchdown. Here's Adrian Morrell. 2 tough yards.
By number 29, Adrian Morrell. Stopped by John
There's a lot of places, Tom, to attack Marv Levy's defense.
A 2-yard gain.
You know, and this defense now is a lead for the first time in forever. I think Marv Levy's probably thinking right now first quarter touchdown in his last 17 games. But if you're going to attack this defense, stay away from Ted Washington inside on a regular diet.
Wasn't one of your old coach's obsessions scoring first?
Bill Walsh preached it.
Short drop by O'Donnell. In the flat, intended for Lorenzo Neal. Behind him and incomplete. See the other scores. New England breaking on top of Indianapolis.
Third down, 8.
Kansas City, possible that they could clinch a playoff spot with the victory over San Francisco and losses today by New England and Miami. Philadelphia early up on the Bengals.
Third and long again, Tom. A lot of pressure last time for Neil O'Donnell on this down.
O'Donnell has time, and it's nearly intercepted. Intended for Wayne Trevette, their third down man, and Marlon Kerner broke on the football, nearly intercepted it, and Neil O'Donnell begins the game 0 for 4.
On that play there, good pass protection by the Jets offensive line. Gave O'Donnell the time, but the key that ruined that play was excellent pass coverage down the field and zone by the Buffalo defense.
Hanson's punt. This one higher than the last. Burris fumbles the ball. Loose football, scrambled for it just inside the 15. 45-yard punt, and the Bills get it back on the Jeff Burris fumble. Timeout, Orchard Park, New York, with the home team, the Bills, leading by 7.
The network of the Super Bowl. You're watching the NFL on NBC.
Buffalo 7, New York Jets nothing at the 10:05 mark, first quarter. Todd Collins already with a touchdown pass for the Bills. First down. Collins going down the sideline. Hangs it up, and it drifts out of bounds, intended for Quinn Early. Well, forgive Buffalo fans if they say, who are those guys? They bore no resemblance to the Buffalo offense on that first drive.
Well, on that first drive, it was good game planning and good execution. First play, pure game planning. You got an aggressive defense, dump it over him, let Thurman go. Second play, Antoine Smith, a little improv, makes things happen. And on the touchdown play to Andre Reed, that was just a blown coverage for the New York defense.
2nd and 10, and Collins steps up, decides to run, and dives to the 25-yard line. And I think he has enough for a first down. Collins with a scramble picks up a first. And that doesn't make Parcells happy.
Not at all. You know, another thing doesn't make him happy is because of the pressure they aren't getting on Todd Collins. Look up front at what happens for the offensive line. A little play action with Reuben Brown pulling, and that is a pocket with an empty front. And when an empty front comes in front of a quarterback, he's going to take those extra yards you're giving him.
Not much there for Antoine Smith. Rick Lyle with the tackle for New York.
You saw in that last play, one thing that has really hurt this defense is the lack of a consistent pass rusher or a pass rush period. 30th in the league. And the biggest culprit or the biggest drop-off is Hugh Douglas, who's being forced to play the 3-4. He is not a 3-4 defensive end. He gets eaten up by big physical tackles at that two-gap scan.
Collins sets up the screen. Antoine Smith. Jets played it pretty well, stopping him short of the first down. Dwayne Gordon and Marvin Jones first to arrive on the scene.
The last time these two teams played, Tom, in week 2, this offense, though didn't have a great game overall when you looked at it, they had enough big plays. At that time, it was Kerry Tyndale at fullback on screen passes that led Marv Levy's offense. And here so far, you're seeing a lot of good game planning and a lack of fire. There is no aggressiveness out of this defense for New York, and 3rd and short has been terrible for Buffalo, but everything else has worked today. Why not this?
Antoine Smith. And it did indeed work. First down, Buffalo, as he scoots inside or across the 40 to the 42. James Ferrier finally stops him.
You know, these types of situations, you're going to get people close to making plays. And when they get close to making plays, then it's a matter of being aggressive and being ready. You get arms on them, you make tackles. You start grabbing, you're asking for serious trouble. And right now, you got a grabbing New York defense and a lot of worry lines on the face of Bill Parcells.
6 rushes, 60 yards for Buffalo as Thurman Thomas returns to the game. Todd Collins got back to the 40-yard line before he was wrapped up by Mo Lewis. Interesting about Todd Collins, he's been the whipping boy for many of Buffalo's offensive woes this season, but both his coach Marv Levy and Bill Parcells said they thought that this young man had a lot of potential.
And you know Bill Parcells was around Drew Bledsoe for a few years, because the first thing he says about Todd Collins is, yeah, this guy gets the ball down the field. He can throw it long. It just seems funny coming out of Bill Parcells' mouth talking about the bomb in the long passing game. But the kid's got the arm. It's the head that's being doubted.
4 wides on 2nd and 11. Collins, not a good-looking pass there. Fans wanted an interference call on Victor Green, but nothing doing. Andre Reed, the intended receiver. Follow the NFL online at msnbcsports.com with so many great running backs in the league today. We decided to compare them all and see who's the best. NBC's Jim Morris shares his thoughts on what he looks for in a great back. Then vote for who you think is the league's best back. Plus, this Thanksgiving weekend, we take a look at what each NFL team has to do to be thankful during this holiday season, all at msnbcsports.com.
Best back, Barry Sanders, and others.
Collins avoided the rush and then short-hopped Andre Reed. It was Corwin Brown that came streaking through to put the pressure on Collins, did a sort of little matador sidestep and got the pass away.
And when you don't have a defensive line that's getting the pass rush you want, you create the pass rush. You bring 4 or 5 guys, and then you bring Corwin Brown inside. You had Mo Lewis coming from the outside and Hugh Douglas getting there late, but the idea is to get pressure. It doesn't matter how, you got to get pressure.
Chris Moore will punt for the first time, and Leon Johnson, who ran one back against the Vikings last week, awaits it. High kick by Moore. Johnson fields it at the 20, got away from the first man, knocked the second. Knocked down by Derek Holmes after a 40-yard punt. We'll take a break with Buffalo leading the Jets 7-0, the NFL on NBC. Parcells and the Jets trailing Buffalo 7-0. In fact, they've been totally dominated here in the first quarter by the Bills, outgaining them 102 to only 3. And Neil O'Donnell is still pitching blanks, looking for his first completion. O'Donnell 0 for his first 4.
And not an unusual thing, though. Neil O'Donnell, whether it's been in Pittsburgh or with New York, has struggled here at Rich Stadium against the Buffalo Bills.
Adrian Morrell. And Morrell with a carry as we go to Greg Gumbel in New York. Greg?
All right, Tom, Jets fans are interested in what the Patriots are doing at Foxborough. Sam Gash out of the backfield, 3-yard touchdown pass from Drew Bledsoe. The Colts have answered with a field goal. Patriots are on top of Indy, 7-3 in the first, Tom.
New England really can't afford to take anyone, even the Colts, lightly, but Sam Gash, I think he's a very valuable player. I think New England needs to see more of him, both receiving and blocking, as Adrian Morrell looks for a block and will be close to a Jets first down.
He talks about the rotating guard situation. William Roberts getting hurt in practice. Well, he's going to be replaced right here by Lamont Burns at left guard. Watch the job he does on Sean Price. 6'4", 300 pounds, physical offensive lineman out of East Carolina. And, you know, Tom, anytime a guy's got a nickname in college of Dirtbag, you're talking some stereo attitude guards with Burns now and O'Dwyer.
Didn't mind taking a little edge every now and then. Burns seeing his first action. Good story. His grandmother, for 25 years, owned a newsstand on a corner in Harlem. O'Donnell's pass, missing again, intended for Keyshawn Johnson, defended by Thomas Smith.
Boy, and Bruce Smith is just back there yakking at Jumbo Elliott, who's still down on the ground.
Kansas City, that early lead on the 49ers.
Second down, 10.
Hey, with a matchup like Bruce Smith, this Jets offense does not need to have to put a backup offensive lineman in against Bruce Smith. He breathes fire against the Jets anyway. Take a look at exactly what happened. You know, Bruce Smith causes linemen to make changes in direction. You see the arm over move there by Bruce Smith as he was pulled down to the ground by Jumbo. That's why he was yakking at Jumbo. And the big offensive tackle out of Michigan, the veteran of some Super Bowl wins for Bill Parcells, is still on the ground.
And big Bruce Smith not showing any effects of somewhat overindulging on Thanksgiving Day. NBC Tonight starts with an all-new Dateline, followed by all-star bloopers and outtakes from your favorite TV shows. Then Chevy Chase stars in a great family comedy, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Following bloopers, NBC Tonight. We were talking about that National Lampoon Christmas Vacation movie yesterday as we were driving out to the Bills practice, and we laughed just talking about some of those gags in that movie. It doesn't matter how many times you see it, it's still funny.
There's so many classic scenes, whether it's the squirrel in the tree or the tree catching on fire. He's setting up the Christmas lights, and Christmas Vacation is an appropriate term to bring up here in Buffalo for the first time, and it seems like forever. These Bills might be looking at a Christmas vacation.
Jumbo Elliott being helped from the field. Interesting that the Jets' injuries, all former New York Giants. Pepper Johnson, William Roberts, and now John Jumbo Elliott today.
Lonnie Palale, who's being taken out, Lamont Burns taking his place at left guard, now goes in at left tackle. That now becomes an ultra-feature matchup, especially on 2nd and long with Bruce Smith.
O'Donnell whips it to Keyshawn Johnson. And Johnson surrounded by blue shirts, but he has a first down. He's close to the 45. Sam Rogers and Thomas Smith were first to get there.
And exactly what we talked about at the open. If you're worried about the pass rush, you're not sure if you can run it, 3 steps, get the ball out, and get the ball to a receiver coming off his first 100-yard game. And his game as a receiver is growing in confidence. As a person, Keyshawn needs no more confidence, but as a receiver, he's getting a little bit more.
Never lacked that confidence. There you see, coming in as the leading receiver for the Jets, 1 reception ahead of Wayne Corbett. As Morrell carries again, let's return to Greg Gumbel in New York.
All right, Tom, down in Jacksonville, Mark Brunell back to pass. The ball deflects off Jimmy Smith, picked off by Antonio Langham, and he'll cruise 40 yards for the touchdown. The Jaguars did come back with a Mike Hollis field goal, but right now it's a 7-3 game. The Ravens on top in the first quarter, Tom.
All right, Greg, those two played a very nice game to open the season, I think, in Baltimore, where the Jaguars had to come from behind to win without Mark Brunell. Lorenzo Neal played well by Henry Jones. Neal just turned around, and Jones was there to crack him.
Well, and the other Neal turned around and looked at Neal, and all he saw was Bruce Smith chugging right up in his face. And he's going to see a lot of that. You got to get rid of it quick. Don't even think about 5-set drops against this defense right now with a banged-up Jumbo Elliott on the sideline and basically playing 2 offensive guards on the left side of the line of scrimmage. Last time the Jets did that was against Denver in the opener last year, and O'Donnell got killed.
Leon Johnson, one of 4 wide receivers for the Jets. O'Donnell has time and then hit just as he released it, and the pass intended for Corbett is incomplete. And a late flag coming down now. Let's see if that's roughing.
Yeah, personal foul, hitting the quarterback down low.
Unnecessary roughness. Tackling the quarterback below the knees. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Jerry Markbright with the precise infraction.
And Sean Moran, watch number 98. The defensive tackle come around on the game and come down low. Right here. I'm sorry, that was not below the knees. That was above the knees and the thighs.
Plus, what else was he supposed to do?
There's no way. He's being pulled down by Lamont Burns and pushed. And it comes in very late, that flag. I mean, this is an example of how ultra-conservative our officials are in the NFL right now of taking care of quarterbacks.
First down, New York. to the 35-yard line. Bruce Smith wraps him up.
Well, the ball carrier. Stopped by Bruce Smith.
Jumbo Elliott on the way to the locker room, presumably for x-rays. No report from the Jets as of yet.
And Bruce Smith now coming off the field limping a little bit. Just had a personal highlight film, kind of a run play from this big defensive end, but now he seems to be limping.
Just under 3 minutes left, first quarter, 7-0 New York. O'Donnell got rid of it, and it's knocked away, intended for Brady. Jones was there as the ball hung up, gave him time to recover and knock it away.
You're getting pressure like this. Bryce pops in your face. That football becomes trouble wrapped in a brown-looking package. Watch Bryce Pop come around the corner here and get in Neal's face. And when he does, O'Donnell tries to just get rid of it. Wow, Henry Jones, you turn around for the ball there, you're going the other way for a touchdown.
O'Donnell, 2 of 9, just 14 yards. 10th play of the drive. Bruce Smith is back. Keyshawn Johnson, broken up. Thomas Smith played it well and got some help from Manny Martin.
A perfect deep center field job done by Manny Martin there, because Keyshawn Johnson is about to receive a wonderful pass from Neal O'Donnell. Thomas Smith knows it's happened in the past between these two teams. O'Donnell dropping over the top, and look what Manny Martin does coming in, and that is how a safety is supposed to help. Just being right in the perfect spot to break that up. You could just almost read the shock on the face of Keyshawn Johnson as the safety came in.
The strong leg John Hall will attempt a field goal. It'll be 53 yards, and he does have the strong leg. On its way, but no good. Wide left. He's now 4 of 6 from over 50 yards. Tom Hammond, Randy Cross, Lynn Berman in Orchard Park, New York, where the Jets trail the Buffalo Bills 7-0, trying to hold on to first place in the AFC East. Todd Collins has a touchdown pass. 2.5 minutes left in the opening quarter. Thurman Thomas, 2 yards, 45-yard line. Bobby Hamilton credit for the tackle.
Yeah, you know, for a coach that puts such a premium on field position, Bill Parcells has confidence in John Hall in the long field goal, but it sure gives the other offense nice field position, especially when they're rushing the ball the way they are. And, you know, his team got absolutely nothing out of that real questionable personal foul called on Sean Moran for that low hit on Neal O'Donnell.
Hall missed the long field goal, and it's still 7-0. That'll be a procedure penalty against John Fina of Buffalo for the false start.
He looked quick, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He showed his best quickness of the season. Trouble was the ball hadn't been snapped yet.
Ball start, number 70, offense. 5-yard penalty, second down.
I can tell you from having done that numerous times in my career.
No.
You almost want to hit somebody harder once you do that, because you know you're offside, so you figure you might as well get a good shot in while they're throwing that flag.
4 wide receiver formation. Thurman Thomas, the lone setback. Collins. Miscommunication with Lonnie Johnson, threw the ball behind him. Meanwhile, Andre Reed had broken toward the center of the field and was open.
Brings up 3rd and 12.
Thurman Thomas achieving another milestone today, passing another former Bill, O.J. Simpson, into 9th place all-time, 11,241 and counting. 5 defensive backs for the Jets. Collins zips downfield for Reed. Just tipped away by Otis Smith. Good defensive play by Otis Smith at the last second to deflect the pass from Collins.
You know, like anything else in life, the more you do something and the more opportunities you get to do something, the better you get at it. And as picked on as Otis Smith has been on this year, he's had plenty of opportunity to practice knocking those balls away. That was that great execution by Otis Smith and a good shot by the Buffalo coaches, taking a shot at the guy that's given up 9 touchdowns this year on big plays.
Leon Johnson awaiting the Moore boot, and it's a towering one. He fumbles the ball, and then it bounces right back into his hand. 50-yard boot by Chris Moore, and the Jets try to get something going. What do they say? Reading is fundamental. They gave up 2 touchdown passes to Jake Reed of Minnesota a week ago and 1 to Andre Reed in the first quarter today. That's the margin of difference, 7-0 Buffalo over New York.
You know, so far today, we haven't seen much out of the special teams for Bill Parcells. A missed field goal. We've seen some bumbling and fumbling, and look at the turnaround that's happened. I mean, that right side column directly reflects what this Jets team has done, but so far today, they're playing more like this and less like this on special teams.
Parcells' specialty says that's the quickest way to turn a team around. Special teams play. O'Donnell, the play-action fake, and the pass is good. Caught by Jeff Graham, and Graham has had the problem well documented of dropping some key passes. Caught on to that one in front of Henry Jones.
Well, he's actually had a couple games where he knocked him down more than missed him trying to catch him. But here's an example of, for a young wide receiver out there, you know, how do you do the sideline NFL catch it, stretch, and get him down? You catch it, you stretch, you get him down. That's exactly how it's supposed to be executed, and it's got to boost this guy's confidence.
2nd and 4 from the Jet 14. Closing seconds of the first quarter. That play blown dead. Ted Washington
trying to hatch it.
Right. Jerry Markwright's microphone is out. Can't cut through the fog, but it is illegal procedure against New York. David Williams is leaving on the cart. So there's David Williams, Jumbo Elliott of the offensive line out, and we also noticed the last couple of defensive series, Aaron Glenn was not in the game. We've asked for updates on their injuries, but have gotten no word as of yet.
Last year against Buffalo, the Jets played with 4 guards and a center because of injuries to Williams and Jumbo Elliott. This is deja vu.
O'Donnell zips it complete across the middle to Krebet. And Wayne Krebet, the specialist in picking up the first downs, does so there for 14 yards. Henry Jones finally catches him.
And you're going to see the steady diet of the quick passing. Watch Neil O'Donnell just take the quick pass. 1, 2, 3, zip, got it, take it. And Krebet's the guy inside you got to look for. Out of the slots, Wayne Krebet and Keyshawn Johnson, I think, are 2 of the better receivers in the league in the middle of the football field.
Krebet leads the NFL in 3rd down receptions. O'Donnell fumbles the snap. Had 2 costly fumbles against the Vikings last week. He's able to get this one back.
Well, you expect fumble problems from a quarterback more often standing in the pocket, holding the ball, being stripped, not getting the ball from a center he's worked with for quite a while. Just bad execution by both O'Donnell and Duffy.
And that will bring the first quarter to a close. Parcells and the Jets trailing Buffalo at the end of 1. It's the Bills 7 and the Jets nothing. Start the second quarter with Buffalo leading New York 7-0. And the center, Roger Duffy.
And part of the problem with the snap is worrying sometimes about who you're playing against. And he's got a 350-pound plus who you're playing against in Ted Washington across from him.
Emphasize the plus. O'Donnell complete to Johnson. Dragged down from behind by Thomas Smith. It looks like he has a first down as we zip back to New York City and Brigham.
All right, Tom, in Philadelphia, Cincinnati's Boomer Esiason continues his fine streak. Watch him avoid the rush here and then spot James Hunden behind the defense, 36 yards downfield. Touchdown Bengals with the extra point. They're on top of the Eagles, 14-7 in the second, Tom.
Great vintage Boomer, huh? 2 touchdown passes against the Eagles. 7-0 Buffalo here. First down for the Jets, their own 35. Adrian Morrell stopped in his tracks by Ted Washington. Loss of 1. There's Big Ted. What'd you say, 350 plus? Was he in that Macy's parade on Thanksgiving Day?
Yeah, I was missing the ropes to hold him down to the ground. Watch Ted Washington here working against Duffy. This is called hit and discard. And you're not talking about recycling litter. You hit the lineman, you discard, and you come off, you make the tackle. And that's why there's not much happening right now in the middle of that defense, run-wise, for the New York Jets.
In fact, Big Ted would have been able to hold down one of those balloons in the wind on Thanksgiving, wouldn't he? Wide open, pass caught by Baxter, and the tight end rambling into Bills territory, 40-yard line. Chased down by Schultz and Smith, but Baxter wide open for 26 yards from O'Donnell.
And again, the key, Tom, you've got a running game that right now is spurting and stopping. You got to take short drops, you need a quick pocket, and you need quick execution pass-wise from your quarterback, and that's what Neil O'Donnell's doing to these receivers. He's not wasting any time. He's getting the ball out, and he's throwing it in between these zones.
Familiar picture for Bills fans. They've been exploited by opposition tight ends in recent weeks. This one results in a Jet first down. O'Donnell swings the pass to Morrell, goes one-on-one and loses the battle, driven out of bounds by Thomas Smith at about the 35-yard line. Thomas Smith, an interesting story. He spent some time with his mother from Gates, North Carolina, came up and cooked him some home-cooked meals, but the bachelor was home alone on Thanksgiving, so he went to an adoptive family's house over in Niagara Falls and had quite the Thanksgiving feast. He met them when he was a rookie here and has stayed close to them, met them at a high school autograph session, and he has become an adoptive member of that family in Niagara Falls, U.S. side of the border. Looks like a procedure call against that makeshift Jets offensive line.
And Matt O'Dwyer, like I said, if you're going to jump, get your money's worth.
Number 70, offense. 5-yard penalty, second down.
And that's part of that aggressive nature that has gotten on the bad side of Bill Parcells on occasion. Matt O'Dwyer getting a little bit of a quick start there for Parcells' offense, and that's one of the problems you have when you have people around you you're not used to having. I don't care if it's a quarterback, a tackle, a center, just different bodies affect you. You start trying to overwork and overcompensate and do somebody else's job, you're going to be in trouble.
Second and long, 8th play of a drive that began on the 8th. Dangerous pass from O'Donnell, completed it to Kyle Brady, but he was hit immediately by Sam Rogers. First catch for Brady.
You see Sam Rogers kind of shaking that arm. You got a little bit of the worst of that collision with Kyle Brady, because that is no little skinny tight end to be trying to tackle him.
Let's go down to Lynn Berman.
All right, the injury report is really mounting for the Jets. Aaron Glenn, an ankle injury. He's out for the game. David Williams, a back problem. He's questionable. And Jumbo Elliott, an Achilles problem. He's questionable. My feeling is he may not return either.
Wow, thanks, Lynn. Serious injuries mounting for the Jets, who trail by 7. O'Donnell's pass wide open and caught by Keyshawn Johnson. Johnson found a spot. O'Donnell hit him, and Schultz makes the tackle, but a gain of 17 yards, and the Jets keep their drive going.
Watch the great job done by the offensive line, forming the pocket, and then Keyshawn Johnson finding his spot in the middle of the field. This offensive line is right now handling the blitz. They're handling the stunts. And Keyshawn Johnson just settles into that spot of the Bills' defense and waits for Neil O'Donnell to find him.
Play action fake. O'Donnell rolls, delivers. Another reception. Close to the first down is Brady. Hogged collared there by Bryce Popp.
Bryce Popp with the stop.
We talked earlier about Neil O'Donnell and his career against the Buffalo Bills. Here's a guy you mentioned earlier about being the all-time leader in touchdown to interception ratio, and this goes against the negative side of that. 5 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and includes those 2 playoff games. And right now he's using his passing offense as basically short running spurts and long ones.
Here's a run. As you see, O'Donnell has discovered his rhythm. That's Lorenzo Neal on the carry, stopped by Washington. After that 0 for 4 start, O'Donnell has found the range. In fact, has hit his last 8 passes in a row.
The key really for him is not seeing a steady diet of Bruce Smith and Bryce Popp in his face. He's getting some great protection on some good play calling by the Jets offensive coaches, who are not making his line do things that they're not capable of doing.
incomplete, intended for Johnson.
O'Donnell's pass intended for Keyshawn Johnson.
So the first miss after hitting 8 in a
Jeff
row.
Burris on the coverage.
Getting the coverage that he did not want. And when you don't get the coverage you want, you have to throw a pass where you hope your guy can get at it. There's no chance the defender is going to get to that, and you got to hope your receiver can lay out for it. A little bit of an overthrow.
13th play of the drive coming up. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 6. 2 tight ends, Brady and Baxter on the field. O'Donnell rolling right. In the corner of the end zone, through the hands of Jeff Graham.
O'Donnell's pass intended.
Not sure if he would have been able to stay in bounds anyway, but it went right through his hands.
Well, the key, too, besides the fact it was a little bit wide, is watch the forest, if you will, of arms that are waved in front of Jeff Graham's face. And then the ball gets on him so fast he doesn't know where it is. See, the hands are starting to go up, and the ball's almost on his body. Just bad timing, not only the jump, but bad timing getting your hands to where the ball is. If you lay out and do the old tiptoe deal, you might get that for 6 points.
Parcells has been telling him to concentrate on catching the tip of the ball, getting his hands in play. And O'Donnell was complaining about the play clock, and they'll reset it for him. 4 wide receivers, 3rd and goal, 6-yard line. Jets trail by 7. Handoff. Johnson stopped short by Sean Moran. That'll bring the field goal team out.
That's one of the areas of the field, this Buffalo defense, and I think a lot of it has to do with the veteran leadership of guys like Smith and Ted Washington. You get in the red zone against this defense, it's when the hard part really starts, and it was easy to get down there, but the execution took a severe drop-off for the Jets once they did.
John Hall will attempt a 22-yard field goal, a 14-play, 7-minute drive, and they'll have to settle for the field goal attempt. Hansen gets the high snap down, and Hall boots it through. So they do get the 3 points to narrow the Buffalo lead. Second quarter at Buffalo, 7-3 Bills.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By Visa, the official card of the NFL. It's everywhere you want to be. By Compaq, the most popular computer in the world. And by the Norelco Reflex Action Razor. Anything closer could be too close for comfort.
Jets have chipped away at the Buffalo lead. And if you can read Bill Parcells' lips, looks like he says, good drive. That occurred just a few moments ago while we were away. And I wouldn't encourage a whole lot of lip reading on Bill Parcells, actually, but looked like he said, good drive right there. Moulds and Holmes. Ball bounces, picked up by Derek Holmes. Holmes try to get to the outside to about the 27-yard line. A 20-yard return. Raymond Austin, the special teams tackle. It's a 7-3 game in Buffalo. Welcome back to Buffalo, where the fortunes have changed dramatically. Jets outgained 102-3, now 129-3 since that point. And right now, 3 backups on the defensive line for the Jets. Bobby Hamilton, Ronnie Dixon's in the game, and Rick Terry.
And unlike the other side of the ball, that seems to be all injury-related, these are all just moves by the defensive coaches upstairs, Bill Belichick and Bill Parcells, in the sidelines to maybe try to jumpstart a little bit this defense.
We'll try to jumpstart the offense after that impressive opening drive. As you saw, not much since, and Antoine Smith finds the going tough. Ronnie Dixon just came into the game on that defensive front, makes the tackle.
Ronnie Dixon's got to start feeling a little bit like a yo-yo right about now. He's been cut and brought back and cut and brought back, and he gets cut and gets brought back, and now he's in uniform, and not only is he active, he's playing.
And made a tackle for his defensive coordinator, Bill Belichick, who had that bizarre stint there as the head coach of the Jets, and has pointed out, as his name has been mentioned in some coaching job vacancies, that he is the designated successor to Bill Parcells with the Jets whenever that should occur. Jay Reimers mud catches that one from Collins and is hit by Ray Mickens.
Ray Mickens making the stop.
Well, we couldn't overestimate or overstate the shock to see Buffalo drive down the field on its first possession to get a touchdown, because The last 4 games, the offense has been somewhere else.
I tell you, that streak they had for 16 games without a touchdown in the first quarter. The current University of Michigan team could score in the first quarter against a lot of teams in the NFL.
You see what a poor season it's been, and sort of reverting to form here lately, but they'll pick up a first down on this pass, caught by Quinn Early. Mickens on the tackle, first catch of the day for Quinn Early.
And something we haven't seen in the games we've done with Buffalo this year, Tom, that we're seeing so far is a confident Todd Collins, not being harassed by a pass rush, being able to pick out his receivers and get the ball to him. You can't say enough about how critical that is to a young quarterback like Todd Collins, is getting that confidence and feeling that kind of speed dial on your game plan.
Interesting parallel that Bill Parcells said last week against Minnesota. They tried to give Neil O'Donnell some plays to let him succeed and gain some confidence. Same thing the Bills are trying to do for Todd Collins, getting some plays on which he can find some confidence. Thurman Thomas with a good game as we return to Greg Gumbel for an update.
All right, Tom, at Jacksonville, Mark Brunell and the Jaguars on the rebound. This is a 44-yard strike to Jimmy Smith. It set up a 4-yard touchdown run by Natron Means, and the Jaguars move a little closer to the Ravens. It's 14-10 Baltimore in the second quarter, Tom.
All right, Greg, thank you. 7-3 here in Buffalo. Buffalo scoring on the touchdown pass to Andre Reed, their first possession. Not much sense, but driving now. Here's Thurman Thomas into Jet territory to the 45-yard line where he's twisted down by Marvin Jones.
Stopped by Marvin Jones.
Don't forget, coming up next, most of these NBC stations, game 2 of our doubleheader. Most of you will see Dan Marino and the Dolphins face Jeff George and the Raiders. Others see the Steelers take on the Cardinals. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Game 2 of the doubleheader coming up next on NBC. And you think it'll really be Dan Marino wearing that 13 for the Dolphins this week instead of that imposter we saw in New England last week? Todd Collins put it up for grabs, and it's grabbed by a Jets. Ray Mickens, but he was out of bounds.
Now, Ray Mickens was as shocked as anybody else that ball was up there for grabs. Two very surprised people. Ray Mickens and Todd Collins as he puts this one up. Todd can go back and say, I got away with one here. Because he's trying to get the ball down the field, and that ball gets up in the air. And, folks, there is no blustery Rich Stadium wins. That was just a bad throw that came off his hand. And if Ray Mickens could have caught that ball in the air a little bit sooner where it was, he'd had himself an interception. And that is an unusual sight at Rich Stadium.
The fog is too heavy to blow it out there. Maybe Todd was planning on the wind, and there was none. Thurman Thomas. Thomas is having a pretty good game to the 40-yard line, stopped by Jerome Henderson. Saw the scores there a moment ago with Kansas City increasing the lead over San Francisco. Could be a big day for the Chiefs. Look at Thurman.
He's off to a good start, Tom. And what he lacks here at the end of the run is you need cleats on the side of your shoes on this AstroTurf when it's wet. You got the bottoms. If you try to make that cut, you need them on the sides. Because those little logos on the sides don't have as good a grip as the bottom of those shoes.
Got the turf shoes on for today's game. Field fairly wet. Collins on the screen pass. Beautifully played by Marvin Jones. Thurman Thomas, I don't know if they call it a completed pass and a fumble or... Let's see.
Collins pass intended for Thurman Thomas, broken up by Marvin
Incomplete
Jones.
pass, I believe, is the ruling.
This is just a great job of seeing what's happening by Marvin Jones. And watch Marvin Jones here. Watch him close on the play. Goes through the offensive line, goes through Dusty Ziegler, and closes on the running back. I mean, that's just recognition and execution.
Great play by the Jets' leading tackler, and it was a correct call, incomplete pass, as Chris Moore will punt it to Leon Johnson. Johnson fields it and fumbles the ball. It's going to be ruled down. No touchdown, no touchdown. It'll be ruled down. Derek Holmes picked it up on the bounce, carried it into the end zone, but the official right there immediately said no, the ball was down.
That was awfully close. You can see that ball. It's sort of like the reaction as the body and the ball hit the ground. Marv Levy is going to see the ball bounce straight up in the air from that point.
And we'll take another look at it when we return to Buffalo, where the Bills lead the Jets by 4. Tom Hammond, Randy Cross, Len Berman in Buffalo. 7-3 Bills over the Jets. 4:47 left till halftime. Leon Johnson fumbled the ball the last time, but it was ruled no fumble as he hit the turf. And we'll show it to you again in just a moment. First, the Jets begin at their own 9. Morrell to about the 14-yard line, actually, where they started. Rogers and Holacek the tackle.
Watch the left arm. Watch the ball jump out. Ground cannot cause the fumble. An excellent call by Terry Gerke, the head linesman. Right there on the side. Ball hits, arm hits, loss of possession. That's why the rule's in the book, folks.
And he and Laird Hayes, the side judge over there, emphatically ruling immediately that the ball was down. No indecision at all. O'Donnell pumps one way, sets it up a screen to the other side. Penetration by Ted Washington. He got that 350 pounds plus moving in one direction, and Morrell never had a chance on the screen.
Hey, if there's any justice in this league this year, that 350 pounds will be moving dead west from here to Honolulu for the Pro Bowl. This guy is having that kind of a year, if not an all-pro year, and you can't get arguments out of anybody. When you got a nose tackle that heavy, moving that fast, remember the old Laurel and Hardy piano up the stairs? That's like trying to stop that piano coming down those stairs.
13-yard line, it's 3rd and 11. Baxter hit hard, dropped at the 16-yard line by Phil Hansen. And the Buffalo defense again stops the Jets and should get their offensive team favorable field position. That's Henry Jones, we're told, shaken up on the play.
You know, and Bill Parcells, you keep hammering the point that this is a guy that loves a field position football game. And right now, if you're playing field position in this game, you're losing. Because the Jets constantly are getting the ball back here on this side of their field. I mean, it's been time after time after time.
And while they examine Henry Jones, we'll take a break. Buffalo leads 7-3. The Bills' Henry Jones shaken up a bit on the last play. Walked over to the sideline on the bench now, and apparently is not too bad. And word from the Bills is he is fine. Brian Hansen, Jeff Burris takes it on one knee, sets sail for the sideline, can't quite get there. Pulled down at the 45-yard line by Corwin Brown. 42-yard punt, 5 on the return. Tonight, NBC's Thanksgiving Spectacular wraps up.
Get set for the original holiday comedy classic, Chevy Chase, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 9, 8 Central, NBC tonight.
Ouch.
Well, that's how Neil O'Donnell felt the first time these two teams played last. 8 sacks and a lot of shots in the grill.
And no sacks today, although he's down. Andre Reed couldn't hold on. Pass a little high. He was hit as he tried to pull it in. Incomplete. Ray Mickens had decent coverage on Andre Reed.
And Dwayne Gordon, Tom, was right there for the deflection. Had the ball come into his hands. What I want you to look at is not the play and the execution. Watch 54, Gordon come in. Ball comes off of Andre Reed. I got it, there it is. Oh, slippery little turkey, isn't it?
Thurman Thomas crosses midfield into Jet territory with the clock approaching 2.5 minutes. Thurman Thomas, one of the few core players remaining for the Bills, and Bill Parcells talking to us, named them all off yesterday, just off the top of his head, and said, I have so much respect for those guys. He said, I didn't play Buffalo much early in my career when I was with the Giants, just the Super Bowls, but said since coming to the AFC, he's been here a lot and has tremendous respect for them, including Thurman Thomas, who was injured a bit on that last carry.
And especially for Thurman Thomas. He says the things this guy's accomplished in this weather, on this surface, over the length of his career, he said you could put almost any other running back you want to name up here, and he wouldn't do the numbers that Thurman Thomas has put up.
You're watching the NFL on NBC. Be sure to stay with us at halftime for the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC halftime report. Greg, Joe, Chris, and Sam bring you up to date on all the scores and highlights. And we'll also hear from Jimmy Johnson, who just happens to be a big Buffalo Bills fan today. Hoping with an assist from the Bills to regain first place. Collins got away. And the pass is incomplete. Lonnie Johnson should have made the catch, did not. Then Victor Green had a chance at the interception. He couldn't do it. And the whole problem began with Marvin Jones getting in the face of Todd Collins.
Well, Marvin Jones also doesn't give up and keeps the pressure on Todd Collins. Watch 55, the linebacker, misses him the first time, gets right back up and puts more pressure on Collins. And so far, we've seen this football around here. Looks like it's been basted, kind of like that turkey from Thursday. It keeps slipping out of everybody's hands.
Chris Moore booms this one downfield and into the end zone. A little too good. 48 yards, but only 28 on the net for Chris Moore. Thurman Thomas receiving attention to his right calf, but appears to be all right. Jets 3 and out their first 2 possessions, missed a 53-yard field goal. Then Hall did connect from 22 yards. And then back to the 3 and out on their last possession, deep in their own territory.
It's now 4 times in a row, and Bill Parcells' quarterback, Neil O'Donnell, has not been sacked, as you noted. And he's got a good completion percentage. But these short passes are being solved right now by Buffalo's defense.
O'Donnell stands in the pocket, hits Crevette. Wayne Crevette breezing down the sideline to midfield and out of bounds. Thomas Smith finally was able to force him out of bounds. His second catch of the day, and this one goes for 30 yards.
And when you got a guy got a problem solving the defense, what you do is you drag your receiver Crevette underneath the linebackers. Watch the defensive backs and the linebackers drop off and create the room for Wayne Crevette right there. See everybody moving away? Had a zone defense on. There's nobody there to make up for Wayne Crevette. Nice play call upstairs.
From midfield, O'Donnell kick, ball's loose. Still there. Finally recovered by Buffalo at the Jet 45-yard line. Henry Jones pounced on the football after Phil Hansen on the blindside hit of O'Donnell knocked the ball loose.
And remember, for the New York Jets, the backup quarterback is Ray Lucas. Number 18 is in the game right now as the backup quarterback, or not in the game, but he's listed as Bill Parcells' as backup. He's in the game mainly for his contributions on special teams, not as a regular quarterback. And the way you get to your backup quarterback is you get this kind of pass protection. Phil Hansen right in the middle of the shoulder blades of Neil O'Donnell. Quarterback never sees it coming, and that fumble goes to your offensive line. It does not go to the quarterback.
First sack of O'Donnell today, but the 31st time this season, and the Bills have 9 of those now. Thurman Thomas made a little delay, looking for a seam, found none. Stopped for no gain by Dwayne Gordon. Meanwhile, O'Donnell receiving attention over on the bench as the clock ticks toward 1 minute left in the half.
And it gives you some idea of why the league is so concerned about protecting quarterbacks when they get hit like that, when they are unprotected. And that has got to be one of the more nervous people right now in this stadium is Ray Lucas, the backup quarterback for the Jets.
Thomas. 30-yard line. Mo Lewis the hit. Timeout taken by Buffalo. Stops the clock at 46 seconds. Todd Collins trying to take advantage of the turnover. Timeout in Buffalo. Glenn Foley inactive today, injured in the game against the Bears a couple of weeks ago, which means that at quarterback, the Jets are very thin. O'Donnell receiving attention there on the left on the bench, and number 18 in his first year from Rutgers, the free agent Ray Lucas. He is the man who would come in if O'Donnell cannot go in the second half. Collins nearly intercepted. Mickens, for the second time, had one and a chance to pick it off. Remember the last time he had a near interception?
I swear the ball's basted, Tom. There's something on this thing. It might be a little slick layer of just the water on it that's making it so hard to handle.
Well, this keeps up, and Parcells will be angry enough to eat it, too, if it's basted at halftime.
Well, he said he wanted to get Ray Lucas some playing experience in the World League. He had no intention of getting him playing experience on a regular basis here in the NFL late in the year.
Christie, 49-yard field goal attempt on its way, and it is good. From 49 yards, Christie makes New York pay for the turnover. O'Donnell's fumble on the blind side hit leads to a field goal, upping the Buffalo margin to 10-3.
Really, we talked about the field position. It comes back to bite O'Donnell and this team. And, you know, what a surprise maybe to a lot of Buffalo Bills fans when you see your team sitting at -19 next to only Mike Ditka's New Orleans Saints in ineptitude and getting the ball and giving it away. And how do you get some points? You get them off a turnover.
O'Donnell looks like he's ready to come back. 14 of 23 in this first half.
But he doesn't need any more spinal adjustments from the backside by defensive linemen, though. The premium now is on protecting Neil O'Donnell. Because, I mean, Ray Lucas, like I said, is here for special teams. You got to even wonder if the guy's got a helmet fitted for radio signals. You don't give that to guys covering kickoffs.
Well, we've seen the Bills turn around in two crucial categories today, scoring a first-quarter touchdown and taking advantage of a turnover. Lucas rushed once last week. But those dreaded Bills that come twice a year, Buffalo has beaten the Jets 17 of the last 20 meetings. Finally picked up by Ward. No. Finally, he says, this is it. I've got to just pounce on this ball, get a stick and kill it. Ken Irvin made sure Ward didn't get up.
You know, one thing Bill Parcells and all coaches know is they have new balls for a football game. And nothing's slipperier than a new ball when you get a little water on it. And nothing's slippier for Bill Parcells' Jets right now than consistent special teams play that time and again just keeps giving them problems.
And so far in this first half, win number 9 looks a little slippery unless they can regroup for the second half. Jets have a full complement of timeouts, but only 32 seconds, and they will down it, take a knee to kill the clock, and go to the locker room to try to regroup. Only down by 7, and Marv Levy said, no, nothing doing. Not so fast.
Second try, timeout, Buffalo. 30 seconds, timeout.
They just want to make him stand in the rain a little longer.
Just make Bill Parcells suffer through this field position he's had at the end of the first half. I mean, time and again, you're getting pinned back here, and when mistakes happen in this part of the football field, I don't care how good your defense might think it can play, it's going to give up the points to a Marv Levy offense when it keeps giving the ball at the 30, 40-yard line.
That looks sort of told it all, as Parcells will have to stand in the rain for another time to see if the Bills call their final timeout after this knee. And the Jets line up indeed to take a knee.
With the exchange problems Neil O'Donnell and Duffy's had, why not give him a couple more opportunities to put one on the ground?
Well, finally the Bills say, enough's enough. And the first half will come to a close. Parcells and the Jets trying to stay in first place in the AFC East. They've managed only a field goal here in the first half. At halftime, the Buffalo Bills leading the New York Jets 10-3. The Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC halftime report is next after these messages from your local station.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC halftime report, brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Domino's, delivering 1 million smiles a day.
Welcome, those of you who have been watching the Bills and the New York Jets. I'm Greg Gumbel, along with Chris Collinsworth, Sam Weish, and Joe Gibbs. And let's run down scores and highlights for you so far. And we'll begin with the game in New England between the Colts and the New England Patriots. And Pete Carroll's Patriots hoping to boost playoff chances with a division win. And the Colts helped out at the beginning. Marshall Faulk stripped by Todd Collins. Willie Clay recovers for New England at the Colt 44. It's set up. Drew Bledsoe. Watch Sam Gash out of the backfield on the receiving end of a 3-yard touchdown pass. Patriots went up 7-0, and at this point, the Pats are in the lead by a score of 13-3. Sam?
And you're looking at a frustrated Colts team. They needed to run the ball, control it, couldn't do it. Then poor management of the clock and timeouts right before the half gave Adam Vinatieri a chance to kick the 49-yard field goal to go up 13 points.
All right, Sam, take a look at what's happening in Kansas City. The Chiefs on top of the San Francisco 49ers, 28-6. All season long, Chris Collinsworth has been saying the 49ers have a soft schedule. They get a tough game. They play on the road. You pick them. You pick them.
He's embarrassing.
He deserves it. Is it too late to change?
No.
You know, I mean, it's absolutely amazing to watch the Kansas City Chiefs, who at the beginning of the year, they couldn't do anything as far as their offensive line. They're dominating the so-called great San Francisco defense, and it changes everything now in the AFC. When you look at the schedules between Kansas City and the Denver Broncos, Kansas City, assuming they're going to win today, will be favored in their remaining games. Denver still has to go to Pittsburgh and to San Francisco. Kansas City has all the tiebreaker advantages. As of today, right now, you'd have to say that the Chiefs not only will probably win that division, but they're also probably going to have home field advantage throughout.
I apologize for getting emotional.
That's right.
Okay.
Go back to civilized.
In Jacksonville, the Jaguars are trailing the Baltimore Ravens by a score of 14-13 as they approach halftime. Jags looking for their 13th straight home win, but hardly smooth sailing. On their opening drive, Mark Brunell's pass deflects off of wide receiver Jimmy Smith right to Antonio Langham, who comes up with just a terrific 40-yard effort for a touchdown. Ravens' first defensive touchdown of the season, and Baltimore is up 7-0. They led 7-3 in the second. Vinny Testaverde upstairs to Jermaine Lewis, 15 yards and a touchdown, and the Ravens are up 14-3. But the Jaguars move into the end zone. Natron Means bulls his way in from 3 yards out. Jaguars added a field goal and then have just put another 3 points on the board to take the lead just before halftime. 16-14 is the score. Jacksonville in the lead. In Washington, the Redskins and the St. Louis Rams are tied at 10. In Philadelphia, the Eagles with a 21-14 lead on the Cincinnati Bengals. 6-year-old Gunnar Esiason suiting up for today's game. 7-0 Philadelphia in the first. Boomer Esiason gets the Bengals on the board. Perfect throw to Darnay Scott. 10-yard touchdown. Gunnar high fives it in the booth. Bengals tied at 7. Esiason then capitalizes on a Ricky Waters fumble, avoids a couple of would-be tacklers, and hits James Hunden for a 37-yard touchdown, and the Bengals are up by a TD 14-7. But here come the Eagles. Bobby Hoying, 1 yard to Chad Lewis. Hoying's 31-yard run led to that score, and it was tied at 14. Cincinnati fumbled the ensuing kickoff, and then Hoying to Jimmy Johnson for the 13-yard touchdown. Eagles on top 21-14, and that is how this one stands now. I know you're high on Bobby Hoying.
Yeah, Bobby Hoying's making some great plays out there, no question about it. But I've got to tell you, and Sam Weiss and I were just talking about it, sort of warms your heart to see old Boomer Esiason in there making some of the plays that, honestly, he didn't even make some of these plays back in his heyday when he was most valuable player of the league, and I'm sure Gunner's enjoying every minute of it.
All right, Chris, in Carolina, the New Orleans Saints are leading the Panthers by a 13-3 score. Doug Bryan has kicked field goals of 50 and 51 yards in this game for New Orleans. And the game that you folks are watching, the Buffalo Bills, are leading the New York Jets by a 10-3 score. Neil O'Donnell and the Jets looking for their first winning season since 1988. Scoreless in the first. The Bills scored a touchdown in the first quarter for the first time in 17 games. Todd Collins, Andre Reed, 22 yards, 7-0 Buffalo. The Jets lost both starting offensive tackles. Jumbo Elliott injured his Achilles. David Williams hurt his back. Both are questionable to return. Cornerback Aaron Glenn won't return with an ankle injury. Second quarter now, Neil O'Donnell fumbles, hit from the blind side by Phil Hansen. Henry Jones recovers for the Bills at the Jets 36. It led to a Bills field goal. Neil O'Donnell, again, with fumble problems today. He's fumbled twice. He has lost one. And, Joe, it looks not shaping up to be the best day for the Jets.
It's looking like pass rushing, and I can see him in the locker room right now. They're going, can you imagine a nightmare for Bill Parcells? He loses both of his offensive tackles. He went in knowing that he gave up 8 sacks last time. trying to be more protective on the edges, lose both of your guys. It's affecting their running game. They got 26 yards rushing. I tell you what, it's going to be the Bills right now have the upper hand in this one because of injuries.
All right, Joe, when we come back, we'll hear from Dolphins coach Jimmy Johnson. His team plays Oakland in the featured late game of our doubleheader. We'll get to that right after these words from your local station.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC Halftime Report, brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Domino's, delivering a million smiles a day.
Greg Gumbel back in our New York studios along with Joe Gibbs, Sam Weish, and Chris Collinsworth. The game that most of you will see is the second half of our NBC doubleheader is Miami at Oakland. Key game for the Dolphins, who began the day one game back of the New York Jets. Dolphins coach Jimmy Johnson spoke with Jim Gray.
Thank you, Greg. With Jimmy Johnson here, of course, the Miami Dolphins have had big trouble in Northern California. In the Oakland Coliseum, they are 0-8. And I guess when you go into a place, you never like to see an 0. Why has there been so much difficulty here for the Dolphins?
Well, Jim, of course, some of those games were a long time ago. For all I know, they were traveling by train to come out here. We lost last year, but we turned it over 4 times. And I think the big thing this year is we're a better football team.
How do you prepare for a team like the Raiders? I mean, they're helter-skelter. One week they look like they can beat anybody in the league. The next week it's almost as though they're not on the field. How do you prepare for your guys so that they don't take this game for granted?
I think the biggest thing with our football team and going up against the Raiders is that we've got to be somewhat conservative there early in the game. We've got to make sure that we don't turn it over and give them some life early in the game. I think as the game goes on, we're going to get stronger and stronger. We'll make plays as the game goes on.
Jimmy, have you taken time this week to speak to your team about controlling their own destiny? Because if you win 3 of your last 4, you're in the playoffs.
Well, they understand that. They understand that we do need to win at least 3, and they also understand that we need to win, the Oakland game because it's an AFC game.
You're always stressing running the ball. Yet you come into this game, you've thrown the ball 58% of the time, compared to 42% of the time you're running. How do you get that back on track so that Dan Marino doesn't have to throw the ball 60 times a game?
Well, we do 2 things. We get a little bit better running the ball, and the other thing is we stay ahead in games. If we get behind, we have to throw it like we did last week when we threw 60 times.
We're at halftime of the Buffalo game. You're a big Buffalo fan today, aren't you?
Go Buffalo.
Jimmy, good luck. We'll see you a bit later on.
All right, Jim.
All right, that's the story from here in Oakland. Let's send it back to our studios now in New York and to Greg Gumbel.
All right, Jim, just to update you on the Lawrence Phillips to the Dolphins story, Jim Gray spoke earlier today with the Dolphins and got this response from Jimmy Johnson. Quote, "We're going to bring him in early this week, but only to talk to him. Let me stress there is nothing else. No other decisions have been made. We will only talk, and as of now, we will not be working him out or signing him." No matter what the Dolphins say, Sam, I think this stinks because if he was a bad guy when the Rams dropped him, he's a bad guy now, and you said the Rams went to management and said that's a great decision to drop him. The Dolphins are only looking for who can help us now.
Well, I tell you, we said last week this would happen. Somebody would feel like they could rehabilitate this guy. I'm a little surprised that Jimmy Johnson, because I know when he first went to Miami, he got rid of a lot of players that were problems before with Don Shula there. He started that way. But there's always a chance to rehabilitate. Maybe Jimmy Johnson's the one guy that can do it.
Joe?
Well, I think what the danger runs here, the pressure's on right now. So he comes in, okay, a lot of pressure. He squares himself away for a little bit and then reverts later on to going right back to having the same problems that he's had in his past.
But it's not like the Dolphins are drafting this guy. I mean, there's no upfront expense to taking a look at what Lawrence Phillips is going to do. Nobody's criticized this guy more than I have, but I've got to believe that why not bring the guy down there, give him a shot, take a look at him. If he ends up being a bum, get rid of him.
I tell you what, one of the reasons is if he is a problem in that locker room, it'll show up on that field before. It'll cost him a win before
well, if it does, then Jimmy will get rid of him.
All right, guys, most of you will see the Dolphins and the Raiders at 4 Eastern time. Some will get the game in Arizona between the Cardinals and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, today is the last Sunday in November, and just 8 weeks from now, the last Sunday in January, we'll be in San Diego bringing you Super Bowl 32. Today, the NFL is announcing the halftime entertainment for the Super Bowl. Should be fun. Celebrating the 40th anniversary of Motown. Appearing live will be the Temptations, the Four Tops, Smokey Robinson, and Boys to Men. The Royal Caribbean Super Bowl halftime show. We look forward to it. Our NFL and NBC halftime activities continue.
Getting ready for the third quarter in Buffalo with the Bills leading the Jets. And it's been sort of a field position game. Tom Hammond and Randy Cross with you again. And the turnover leading to a field goal just before halftime.
It really has. And what you've seen is an effective offense at time for the Jets. A lot of short passing, some big plays, but when the Buffalo defense needs to make a play, they're the defense on the field right now that are making the play.
As you see the Coors Light halftime stats, 96 rushing yards for Buffalo, big considering their performance against the Oilers a week ago, and total yards dead even at 148. Second half about to unfold as John Hall sends it on its way. And Holmes will return it. Derek Holmes collapsed at the 25-yard line with a flag down. Corwin Brown made the tackle after a 20-yard return.
Corwin Brown on the stop.
It'll be against Buffalo. Bruce Smith and the Buffalo defense as advertised today.
First it's Bruce and the run defense. Now Ted Washington from the nose tackle making a great play on Adrian Morrell on a screen pass. And then the fumble that led to that Buffalo field goal. And we keep talking about field position, but you got to say that is right now the difference. They're locked in a field position game, and the special teams of the Jets are really making the difference and not getting their team the field position.
Manny Martin, the injured Bill, and gives us a chance to check in with Len Berman.
All right, thank you, Tom. I talked with Bill Parcells. He said the loss of his 2 tackles right off the bat really sent him scrambling offensively. He said Neil O'Donnell is fine physically, and he said he really does need something to happen offensively for his team. And defensive coordinator Wade Phillips for Buffalo told me he's not sure the Jets can run the ball at all offensively. If they can't, he said the Bills are in fine shape. Guys?
All right, Len, and the Jets have been going to that short passing game, trying to avoid the 8 sacks they had in the first meeting between the two, but in so doing have become a bit predictable, maybe?
I think they have, especially those last couple of possessions. Quebec got that big 30-yarder, and that helps a lot. But that Buffalo defense is going to load up on those 3-step drops, go into zones, and just start attacking and knocking down the O'Donnell passes if he does the 3 steps.
Jets have only 23 rushing yards in 10 attempts. Shows how anemic their rush game has been. Right now they're on defense as the Bills are backed up a bit after the penalty. Thurman Thomas, who has looked like the Thurman Thomas of old today, as he takes it out across the 25-yard line for an 18-yard gain. Thurman Thomas has 10 carries for 70 yards.
And right now Thurman Thomas has that little spit in his get-along, because the offensive line does a fairly good job. Lonnie Johnson puts a bear hug on Ferrier and holds him and doesn't get called for it, but a little spit in his get-along gets Thurman Thomas around the corner.
Ray Mickens finally got him out of bounds. Look at that. 7 yards a carry for Thurman today. And here he is again. He got only a yard that time after gaining a total of 4 yards against the Oilers last week. Ernie Logan made that stop.
And what has made this game right now for the New York Jets so unusual is a lot of the things that they've done well this year and has made the difference in 97 are the things that right now they're not doing very well. We keep hammering about the special teams, but there are some other factors.
Parcells likes his position, or did coming into the game. Said a couple more wins and we'll really put the pressure on everybody else. Collins, ball squirted free. Is that a pass or a fumble? Let's see. They say the Bills have it back. Hugh Douglas hitting Collins just as he wound up to pass, and Corbin Lucina was able to fall on the ball, retaining possession for Buffalo.
Hugh Douglas does something he has not done much this year, and that's take the shortest effective route to the quarterback. 99 working against Reuben Brown, overpowers Reuben Brown. That is a physical matchup that really Reuben Brown should win. But look at Hugh Douglas, the body lean, the technique. That is what's been missing in this Jets attack defensively, getting at the quarterback.
3rd and long, 5 defensive backs for the Jets. Collins tried to set up a screen to Thomas, and he couldn't hold on to the football. Had a couple of blockers, too. Douglas was again putting the pressure on Todd Collins, but somewhat designed that way on the screen. Thomas just couldn't hold on.
Yeah, I talked about the things the Jets have not done in this game, and here's some of the keys I look at. Field position, they haven't had it today. Effective special teams, very ineffective. The turnover opportunities, they've had some opportunities, they haven't exploited them, and they've had those injuries that have really hurt them offensively with the offensive tackles being out.
Chris Moore booms one. Johnson takes it at the 19-yard line. Returns it about 10 yards after a 54-yard boot. Derek Holmes with a special teams tackle. Jets with the ball when we come back.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Honda, vehicles designed to help simplify your life. By Fidelity Investments, where 12 million investors put their trust. By Texaco, a world of energy. And by Old Spice, cool, crisp, clean. It's all in how you use it.
Tom Hammond, Randy Cross, Lynn Berman. Rich Stadium, Orchard Park, New York. First possession, second half for the Jets. They trail by 7. Neil O'Donnell. Pass to a wide-open Keyshawn Johnson. Johnson in the foot race tries to put a stiff arm on Thomas Smith. Smith catches up to him and drags him out of bounds, but it went for 27 yards and a Jet first down.
Well, if you remember the play Corbett took for 30 yards out of the slot from the right side, now Keyshawn Johnson comes out of the slot on the left side, the exact same play, the exact same amount of room, and it seems like the same guy chasing him in Thomas Smith. And watch the setup by the offensive line, the setup by Neil O'Donnell, plenty of time. That is what this Jets offense needs.
4 catches, 69 yards for Johnson. O'Donnell, play action fake, has the tight end Brady, and Brady to the 20-yard line. Tackled by Henry Jones, 25 yards on the third reception by Brady. No predictability to open the second half.
No, just good, effective execution, because O'Donnell gets this ball to Brady, and the Bills are lucky because Kurt Scholes, the safety, 24, falls down in front of Brady to the right side of the screen, right there. If Henry Jones isn't there, Brady just keeps right on going.
Brady being tutored by Mark Bavaro, who had so many fine years as a tight end with Bill Parcells' New York Giants. O'Donnell threw it right into the hands of a Buffalo player. Intercepted by Sean Moran. Bruce Smith was there in the face of O'Donnell, and inexplicably he threw it right to Moran as if he had a white jersey on.
Hey, you know, Bill Parcells, the only thing that comes to mind after watching your quarterback throw that interception is something I hear from my kids all the time when I ask a dumb question. They just look at me and go, duh. Concentrate on Lamont Burns, the left guard, and Sean Moran at right defensive tackle. The timing is disrupted on the screen, and Moran's on the ground, so O'Donnell says, hey, I'll throw it anyway to Morrell. What were you thinking? And Moran, who already has a fumble recovery, adds an interception to his good game so far.
His second interception of the season.
But I'm serious. I'm standing here, I mean, duh. Wrong color, wrong guy, wrong result.
And by O'Donnell, who is the NFL career leader in touchdown to pass ratio, and Todd Collins returns the favor. Mickens has a gift. Christmas has come early. Collins threw it right to Mickens, who had a chance to intercept 2 passes right at the end of the first half. Holds on to this one, his 4th interception of the season and of his career. And Collins just did the almost exact same play that O'Donnell did, just further down the field.
Well, you know, and finally the Jets, I made the point about taking advantage of the turnovers when they give them to you, and it gets taken. But watch this area. Collins is trying to drop it into his receiver, and he overdrops it.
It dropped all right.
He got a little sail. On the one that went down the sideline, it dropped out of the air, and that one oversailed for Todd Collins. That was a complete lack of touch and a good grab by Mickens.
Net result, Jets have the ball first down at their own 40. That one through the hands of Lorenzo Neal.
And O'Donnell's not happy for one reason. He threw that pass to the wrong spot for Neal to effectively catch it. He threw it over his head instead of leading him on the outside where he could catch it and run with it. So we talked about his interception to touchdown ranking coming into this game. And I mean, that's sparkly and that's special. But if those interceptions kill you, Doesn't matter how few you throw.
O'Donnell got away from Bruce Smith. Sails it over the head of Crivette to the sideline, incomplete.
I tell you, we got an offensive lineman in Matt O'Dwyer playing for the Jets that everybody knows he's got an attitude. But Bill Parcells has got a left guard working right now, and Lamont Burns. Watch this play. You want to see some attitude? Lamont Burns working on the pass rush. Plays over, right? Not for him. Just gets an ear hole shot on Moran.
Well, they didn't call him dirtbag for nothing, huh?
If they're not laying on the ground begging for mercy, they ain't blocked.
O'Donnell stands in and too high through the hands of Keyshawn Johnson, and New York must punt.
You don't get on any receiver's Christmas card list laying him out that high over the middle of the field with a pass. Keyshawn Johnson, I mean, he has a shot at catching that ball, and I'm sure he's mad at himself for not grabbing it. But I'll tell you what, those are the kind of shots receivers take that hurt for a couple of weeks. And take a shot to your helmet like Keyshawn just threw that thing down.
How about a little tuna for Thanksgiving? That's what O'Donnell was getting over on the sideline. Jeff Burris with a fair catch at the 18-yard line. 43-yard punt. Bills take over, up 7.
Today on the NFL on NBC, Thurman Thomas on turning the reins over to rookie Antoine Smith.
When I see talent and when I see a guy who has a lot of ability, I'll point him out to anybody. My ego is not as big as a lot of people think it is. Whenever I retire, I want to leave my position in good hands.
Catch the NFL on NBC next Sunday.
While we were away, Neil O'Donnell got his offensive team together. He had to go get Keyshawn Johnson, who was stalking still on the sideline. Finally appeared to get everybody cooled off. Antoine Smith pounding his way straight ahead.
And the reason Keyshawn Johnson was not happy is this is what receivers refer to as a hospital ball. You're laid up, you're extended, and ribs are being served. And Keyshawn was not happy afterwards, and he goes to find a sympathetic ear. See that thing sailing out, gets high? He laid me out.
Antoine Smith trapped in the backfield, taken down by James Ferrior. The rookie from Virginia. His mom called him Potsy when he was young because he had a little pot belly, and that's, unfortunately for him, stuck with him throughout his life. He said, Coach Parcells, though, is not going to call me that till I start making some plays, kind of like this one.
Well, you know, this defense has got themselves a turnover. They've got themselves a little attitude and a little fire. You've seen Hugh Douglas get some pass rush. You see Mickens get the INT. And you just saw young Ferrier get himself a play in the Buffalo Bills backfield. This is what this defense has got to get, the spark.
Collins on third down, throws it into traffic, and the flag comes down, intended for Quinn Early, and Jerome Henderson will be called for interference.
A little early spark.
Pass interference, number 26, defense, automatic first down.
And Bill Parcells doesn't think much of that because that is a bang-bang decision. You're going to see this in slow motion. And Jerome Henderson's going to come in from the right side of the screen. But ball's getting there. He's closing. I don't like that. That is not pass interference, please. I mean, and that was in slow motion. It was close. Real speed, that is not interference.
Collins lost it. It looks like it's a live football, not an incomplete pass. Reuben Brown, I think, recovered it for Buffalo.
Exactly, and Hugh Douglas was right there again, getting into Todd Collins' face, getting that pressure.
20-yard loss. Second down and 30.
And all that pressure is going to come from Todd Collins' left side where Hugh Douglas is lined up. Watch 99, Hugh Douglas working against John Fina. Collins knows what he wants to do with it.
That's an incomplete.
They can't hold on to it.
Isn't that an incomplete pass?
I thought that ball was coming out before that arm started going forward.
So it's a 20-yard loss in any event for the Bills. Antoine Smith pushed out of bounds by Dwayne Gordon and others around the 10-yard line.
And the fans here aren't happy, but, you know, we talked about the field position earlier. Field position is starting to turn away from Marv Levy and back over to the New York Jets side.
28-9 now, the Chiefs over the Niners.
Art Collinsworth taking some shots on my old team.
Oh, Chris, take a shot?
Yeah, I got to remind him I've still got a couple of his Super Bowl rings in a safe deposit box down in Atlanta.
Ooh, that was a cruel one there. Ooh. Third and 30 if you're keeping score at home. As Antoine Smith tries to get what he can of it back. Knocked out of bounds by Victor Green, and the Bills will punt from deep in their own territory.
You've seen a little ineptitude offensively from Marv Levy's Bills, but you've also seen some fire from the Jets defense. Now can the special teams step up, hold this field position, and improve on it? Leon Johnson's done a great job returning punts. This coverage team of Buffalo's really got to be aware of number 32.
Chris Moore standing in his own end zone. And he sends it on its way. Johnson from the 43. Crosses midfield and has more. Leon Johnson to the 30-yard line. Good return by Johnson. Chris Moore had to make the tackle. 28-yard return of a 43-yard punt. And the Jets do have the excellent field position they were looking for.
And that spark that was not only on Keyshawn Johnson on the sideline after that last offensive play, you saw it from the defense, and now you saw a little bit from the special teams, because by all rights, Leon Johnson should only get about 5 yards on this return. You got Pike, 94, one of the better special teams players for the Buffalo Bills, and Leon Johnson just runs right through him. Now can this Jets offense effectively take control of the situation that the punt returner Leon Johnson, number 2 in the NFL in punt returns, has set him up with this field position inside the 30.
Well, Johnson has done his job. Now it's the offense. They start at the 29 of Buffalo. Play action fake. O'Donnell rolls. Johnson in the end zone. Touchdown.
Now this type of life out of the Jets is exactly what Marv Levy and the Bills has to be worried about, because Keyshawn Johnson just made a great play off that play action pass from Neil O'Donnell, and he's limping.
Remember the little get-together they had on the sideline? It appeared that they had patched up their momentary differences, and it looked on that play as if it were O'Donnell, first man to greet Keyshawn Johnson after he caught the O'Donnell aerial for the touchdown, 29 yards.
It had to be a post-possession problem that Keyshawn Johnson had, because he was flat out getting it across the field for that touchdown.
The extra point by John Hall is good to tie the game. Keyshawn Johnson just 1 yard away from his second 100-yard receiving game. This one for O'Donnell brings the Jets within a tie.
The network of the Super Bowl. You're watching the NFL on NBC.
Back in Buffalo, Keyshawn Johnson just caught the 29-yard touchdown pass, getting attention to his right hip over on the Jet sideline. He has 5 catches, 99 yards. Hall's kick taken by Derek Holmes. Holmes with a full head of steam to the 27-yard line and out of bounds there after a 26-yard return.
Keyshawn Johnson right here. Watch the play action fake, though, by the offensive line and the running back selling this as a run. Nice job. Keyshawn comes free. Now watch the right leg as he turns around and lands right there. You just get a whole wobble all the way up and down that leg, and that was the leg they were working on the sideline.
And, of course, all that made possible by Leon Johnson's 28-yard punt return, and the Jets have tied it. Collins to Andre Reed, and Reed ducks out of bounds with a first down. Gain of 10. Victor Green defending.
11-yard game.
And a couple of great points to make here. One, not only the execution by the play-action fake, but what a nice pass by Neil O'Donnell. He gets that thing right to Keyshawn Johnson, and you see that wobble again as Keyshawn Johnson turned to make that catch on that right leg.
And a tip of the cap, too, to number 32, Leon Johnson, whose punt return gave him a chance to go for the end zone. Collins, a play-action fake, lines up and fires wide open. It's Quinn Early with another Buffalo first down across midfield. Let's go back to Greg Gumbel now for an update.
All right, Tom, at New England, the Colts, the only team in the AFC eliminated from postseason possibilities, can't sell it to the Patriots. Jim Harbaugh to Aaron Bailey. He goes the rest of the way to complete an 18-yard touchdown, and the Colts are within a field goal. It's 13-10 New England, last 3 minutes of the third, Tom.
All right, Greg, dangerous game there for the Patriots, only leading by 3. Here, the Jets and the Bills tied at 10. Thurman Thomas dancing his way for about 4, stopped by Dwayne Gordon. The NFL season extends to the World Wide Web on NFL.com, the league's official website. Visit NFL.com for all the scores and stats, including a complete roundup of this weekend's scores and action. Plus, chat live with some of the NFL's biggest stars, all at NFL.com. Keyshawn Johnson still looking a little gimpy as he takes a seat on the New York bench. Chase from the pocket. He cuts it under. And he dives for about a gain of 1 or 2 inside the 40-yard line, covered by Ferrier there.
James Ferrier on the stop.
Yeah, and James Ferrier was going to get to Todd Collins because he was the reason Collins got out of the pocket. But nothing unusual about the pressure right now from the Jets. They're getting to Todd Collins, something they have not done this football season. That one there resulting in a 20-yard, 80-yardage fumble recovery that the Bills got back, but that's 20 yards they didn't get.
2 sacks to go with the 5 hurries and 2 knockdowns. And it's 3rd and 3. Jets with a blitz. Collins backpedaling, throws it away. He wasn't outside the tackles. I'm surprised that didn't draw a grounding flag.
Very much so. A nice job by the Jets defensive coaches upstairs, though, because they got the right coverage down the field and great grill or face pressure on Todd Collins. He was in a constant backpedal. It looked like a defensive back from the point he took that snap.
It was Marvin Jones and Corwin Brown that forced him into that backpedal. Chris Moore to punt. There's the dangerous Leon Johnson. 4:40 left in this third quarter. We're tied. Moore's punt reaches the end zone on the fly. Again, it looks good, but it goes into the books as only a net 20. Jets have tied the score.
Welcome back to Buffalo. This is Len Berman. Keyshawn Johnson has a bruised hip, but he's back in the game. They've taped him around the outside of his jersey to tape up his hip, but he's back out there for this series, guys.
All right, Len. So is Richie Anderson making an appearance in the backfield along with Adrian Morrell. Now resetting. Play action fake. O'Donnell hit and sacked. Bryce Pop. Second sack of the day of Neil O'Donnell. And for Pop, now 8.5 on the season.
8.5, Tom, but 4 coming against the New York Jets. Bryce Pop coming from the top of the screen. Watch him come all the way underneath. Running a game with Bruce Smith. Smith goes outside, Pop comes underneath, and there's nobody home but the Jets quarterback.
2nd and 16. Morrell. Adrian Morrell just tripped up. Nearly broke it real big. John Holisek got a hand on his ankle to trip him up. Still a big gaining play for Morrell, 12 yards.
Yeah, I really got to say that offensive line, we talked about David Williams being out with the back, and Jumbo Elliott's had the Achilles problem. But this Jets offensive line doing a nice job on this play right here. Lonnie Palale is on at left tackle. and he did a nice job on Bruce Smith.
Burrell with that carry, which was New York's first running play of the second half. 31 yards on the day. O'Donnell calls for timeout with a play clock down to 1.
First drive, timeout. Jets. 30 seconds, timeout.
Jets first, as Jerry Markbright said, of the second half. NBC tonight.
A full hour of the most outrageous bloopers and outtakes ever. Show me the bloopers at 8. Then, Chevy Chase, Junior Louis Dreyfus, the holiday comedy classic, Christmas Vacation. After bloopers, NBC tonight.
There's a man trying to avoid a Christmas vacation this year. Bill Parcells would like to be still in action around Christmas time.
And on that same theme, he saw way too many bloopers in the first half. It hasn't been a case of that in the second half, though. You know, he's a coach that preaches the hidden yards, the yards that don't show up on the stat sheets. And that was a great example on the last time the Jets got the ball and scored of hitting yardage. You saw the replay earlier, that 20-yard Buffalo Bills fumble. That doesn't show up per se. And then you've got the punt return that sets up the offense. That isn't an offensive stat. That 20-yard Buffalo Bills fumble, that doesn't show up per se. And then you've got the punt return that sets up the offense. That isn't an offensive stat. But the touchdown and the pass are.
5 wide receivers, 6 defensive backs. O'Donnell got away from the first rush and found his man for a first down. It's Leon Johnson again. Thomas Smith wrapped him up immediately, but O'Donnell stood in the pocket. The first wave went by. He unloaded to Johnson, and it's a first down, New York.
Like an old-style gunner on a ship. The planes are coming at you. They're shooting bullets. You got to stay in the seat. Ignore the bullets and make it happen. That's what Neil O'Donnell does. The bullets are zipping by him. He delivers one right there to Leon Johnson to get that completion.
Of his 18 today, that was the most impressive, even though it didn't cover that much yardage. O'Donnell with time here, and his man, it's Keyshawn Johnson again. Henry Jones hit him right on the hip. And Keyshawn is down. There's also a flag down on the play.
You know, Len Berman made the point about the tape around his waist. You see the tape there. Illegal hands to the face against the Jets. Keyshawn was also wearing a pad on that right hip. And pad or no pad, you get defensive back and shoulder pad in that general area. You need more pad than that.
Illegal hands to the face. Number 63, offense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's the rookie Lamont Burns, who is seeing his first action today. Those hands to the face, evidently some of one of his trademark moves when he was an East Carolina Pirate. That's one of the reasons he got that nickname, Dirtbag, apparently.
Well, watch Lamont Burns at the left guard position right here. Well, the hands are more into the throat than they are into the face. Going off that replay, that is not a penalty. And Keyshawn Johnson on that catch. Good concentration, good finish off, full speed collision.
Actually, the hit was up around the shoulder pads, wasn't it? And
unless his hip is located somewhere around that JETS on his helmet. I don't think it was his hip. That was a collision.
It was a pretty good one.
But all for naught because of that hands in the face penalty on Lamont Burns.
So now it's 1st and 20 with 2 minutes left in the third. Anderson, first carry of the day. Nothing. Lost 2. Bruce Smith.
That's a part of Bruce Smith's game, probably the most ignored part, because you talk about all the sacks. The number 2 sacker all time behind Reggie White. You want to talk about the times he gets to the quarterback. But here's a guy that's got such great technique and such a huge heart. No matter who he's playing against, a lot of times he won't let himself be beat. Now he happens to have a guard in Lonnie Palalay playing him.
Keyshawn Johnson returns to the lineup on 2nd and 21. O'Donnell from Smith, sacked him again.
quick corners. When you're playing an offensive tackle, that left shoulder is one quick corner. And boy, can it turn into a quick short corner when you're playing a Bruce Smith.
And a sharp corner.
And another spinal adjustment by Bruce Smith on Neil O'Donnell.
Second all-time to Reggie White. One of the greats, Bruce Smith. Smith, Popp, and Hansen each with a sack today. O'Donnell, sideline. Good coverage by the Bills. Thomas Smith on Keyshawn Johnson. Nowhere to put that one. So it'll be fourth down.
And just about when you talked about that field position starting to hurt the Buffalo Bills, this defense comes up with a possession like this with the help of a Lamont Burns penalty is going to set their offense up with some very nice field position.
Brian Hansen. Here's Jeff Burris. Burris ducking, weaving, midfield to the 49 of the Jets. As we go to Greg Gumbel for an update. Greg?
All right, Tom, in New England, Drew Bledsoe and the Patriots come back against the Colts. Troy Brown on the receiving end of a perfect 19-yarder from Bledsoe with the extra point. The Patriots reestablish a 10-point lead. It's 20-10 early in the fourth. Tom?
Patriots looking to win against the Colts. Get a little help from the Bills. And maybe they could find themselves back on the top spot in the AFC East. They face a tough road test next week as they travel to Jacksonville. Todd Collins deflected at the line of scrimmage and incomplete.
Almost picked off there by Bobby Hamilton as that ball was batted down. It sort of rattled around and gave him a shot. And you see Todd Collins sitting in the huddle right here. Plays like that can start to have an effect on a quarterback's confidence. As strong as he looked early, that pass right there, he knocked down a few, good field position or not, quarterback starts flinching.
First time they touched the ball, first series of the game, Buffalo scored, nothing since. Except the field goal off the Jet turnover. Jay Remersma makes that catch for about 5 yards. Marvin Jones, if you remember the first meeting, second week of the season at the Meadowlands, Remersma had a tiptoeing catch for the winning score. 10-yard pass from Todd Collins.
Remersma was a teammate of Collins at Michigan, also went there as a quarterback.
Into the third quarter. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. You're watching the NFL on NBC.
Presented by the authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the NFL is prohibited.
We start the fourth quarter in Buffalo, where the Jets and Bills have played on even terms through the first three. 10-10. Tom Hammond, Randy Cross, Len Berman. Fourth quarter about to get underway with Todd Collins under center. A 3rd and 5. Rolling, he's going to have to plant and deliver, and he does, and it's incomplete. Tough task to ask him to roll to the left and continue to throw as a right-hander. Corwin Brown was making sure that he had a little pressure to boot.
Well, especially when everybody in a blue jersey and a white jersey are all just sort of sucked over into that about 10-yard space by the sideline. You have no hope for getting a completion out of your quarterback, especially when he has to stop and adjust his whole body before he can throw the ball.
Leon Johnson awaits the Chris Moore punt. Fair catch called. He's going to let it bounce and take his chances. And it will be downed around the 10-yard line. Gabe Northern is the man that was able to down it for the Bills, backing up Neil O'Donnell and the Jets.
Yeah, this is a game that's going to turn on a big turnover. And I see an opportunity for a big turnover again coming from this Buffalo defense, because Neil O'Donnell is seeing Pop, he's seen Moran, he's seen way too much of Bruce Smith. And, you know, something that Bruce Smith has done on a regular basis is get after Jets quarterbacks. And, you know, the one sack that's not there is the one where the whistle was blown He kept on going anyway. No one heard the whistle, and he absolutely pancaked Boomer Esiason and gave him a little night-night for a while.
Fans trying to pick up the noise. Only 47,000 here at Buffalo today. O'Donnell whips it over the head of Wayne Krebet. It'll be 2nd and 10.
No pass intended for Wayne Krebet.
There you see that New England-Indianapolis score. And Kansas City bidding to remain unbeaten at Arrowhead. They'd be 6-0, while San Francisco's 11-game winning streak about to go by the boards.
Turning him into a West Coast speed bump out there at Arrowhead Stadium.
You know, Kansas City and the NFC, Detroit have been playing well lately. Bobby Hoying has 4 touchdown passes for the Eagles. O'Donnell's pass falls incomplete, and a flag just now comes down.
John Holosack, 52, the inside linebacker, took a shot right up into the head of Wayne Krebet. And that ball was by. I mean, it was aggressive. It was borderline dirty. And the officials see an infraction.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 52, late hit, 15-yard penalty, first down.
The bottom line of that laundry list of things you checked off was it's pretty dumb, too, in this situation. The Jets were going to have to punt from deep.
Well, watch at the bottom of the screen as Wayne Krebet comes inside, right there, right side. Ball's gone, and Holosack just keeps on going. That is not a very smart play. Right in front of the umpire who doesn't throw the flag.
That's interesting.
You got the back judge all the way into the deep center field through that flag. I mean, Holosack's a guy that's known for his aggressiveness, filling in for Chris Spielman. Also known for his intelligence and his smarts, and that wasn't a show of either.
Right, and he said yesterday, talking to us, that he didn't think like Chris Spielman that you had to be a zombie, a madman all the time. Well, looked like one there, didn't he? That was unnecessary. Adrian Morrell can't dance free from the grasp of Bruce Smith.
Bruce Smith is putting on a show today, and it's something that fans of the Jet Green have seen for a lot of years. Trying to trap block him from the backside, bringing Matt O'Dwyer on a pull. And I mean, trying to hit him with the guard when you're pulling, I've tried that. It's like trying to keep a power forward on a point guard going down the court in the NBA. It ain't going to happen. The guy just moves too quick.
Prides himself on being a complete player, and there you saw ample evidence. Tough against the run or pass. O'Donnell in the flat, dropped. Baxter couldn't hold on. They'll bring up a 3rd and long.
And Neil O'Donnell on that last pass knows that he could have put that one a little bit more into the body of his receiver. Not happy, mainly with himself, not at the receiver. But my main concern right now, if I'm the Jets quarterback wearing number 14, is putting bicycle mirrors on the side of my helmet so I can see what's behind me. The 78, Bruce Smith, behind me.
O'Donnell gets it to Johnson. Leon Johnson stopped well short of the first down by Phil Hansen and Ken Irvin.
I tell you, we're talking about Bruce Smith, and we're talking about the big plays made by him, but there's another pretty good defensive end on the field, Phil Hansen. Watch Phil Hansen in the play that he makes here, lined up next to Bruce Smith. Goes outside on the game, knocks into Morrell, and look at him just flat out get it and take the Jets running back down.
And the other team, Hansen would be a star, but because of the brilliance of Bruce Smith, is often overlooked. Jeff Burris. Out of bounds about the 45, penalty mark on the play. 13-yard return of a 46-yard punt if it stands.
46-yard punt, 12-yard return. Flag on the play.
Yeah, eligible receiver downfield. Jerry Markbright going to that quick hand to the head signal that signifies that.
Ineligible receiver downfield, number 44, kicking team. Penalty is declined. First down.
Corwin Brown, illegally downfield, declined the penalty. Marv Levy's Buffalo Bills with the ball when we come back.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Chrysler, engineered to be great cars. By Castrol Syntec, the full synthetic motor oil that protects in ways other oils can't. And by Staples, the office superstore.
Tom Hammond, Randy Cross, Len Berman. Rich Stadium, Orchard Park, New York. 13:03 left, fourth quarter. Jets 10, Bills 10. Buffalo begins this series at their own 38-yard line. Collins, right through the hands of Lonnie Johnson. Let's go back to Greg Gumbel for an update.
Tom and Randy, maybe the best catch of the day took place in Philadelphia. Bobby Hoying, 23 yards out for Kevin Turner, and watch Turner on the reception. It went through the defender. 34-21, the Eagles in charge against the Bengals in the fourth quarter, guys.
How bizarre, how embarrassing.
So much for the quarterback controversy on whether it's Detmer or Pete.
Yeah, Hoying has been lighting him up since getting his chance. Collins, Johnson holds on to this one and bangs down the defender. Lonnie Johnson in a foot race, and he has a touchdown.
Well, you can ask for no better example on why you get praised for Todd Collins from a coach like Bill Parcells than an example of that play right there. The heart and the guts that it takes to stand in when a Marvin Jones is steaming down on you, knowing you've got a Lonnie Johnson open. I mean, that is a wonderful play by a young quarterback.
62 yards. Lonnie Johnson's second touchdown catch of the season. And now Christie for the extra point. High snap. Moore got it down, and Christie got it through. Lonnie Johnson, 62 yards from Collins. It's 17-10.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Domino's Pizza, delivering 1 million smiles a day. Call for pizza now and share a smile during the game.
Welcome back to Buffalo. Career-long reception, 62 yards for Lonnie Johnson. It's 17-10 Buffalo. Christie to kick off. Johnson and Ward, the deep men. Johnson from the 4. Takes it to about the 22-yard line.
The first part of that play that just resulted in a touchdown you got to see is the pressure coming from Marvin Jones into Todd Collins' face on the blitz. Look at this, wide open, never breaks stride, but Collins stands in and gets the ball to Lonnie Johnson. Now watch the job Johnson does on Victor Green, 21, right here. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. You know, Bill Parcells told us last night, Tom, I've got a hard time getting a handle on exactly what kind of team I have, and right now you got a team in trouble.
O'Donnell's in trouble. Runs free and completes the pass to Crevette. Nice play by both Crevette and by Neil O'Donnell. Bryce Popp was chasing O'Donnell, got it away for 16 yards. Third catch of the day for Crevette.
17-yard gain.
What a tough situation for a receiver. Remember, these guys move quickly. I mean, they've got speed, Tom, that you and I never even thought about having. But suddenly you're moving full speed. Now you got to freeze. Play statue and hope he finds you.
And
get
keep
those
your
feet
in bound, right. O'Donnell swings it complete to Morrell. Stopped at the 40-yard line, no gain. Thomas Smith played it perfectly.
Adrian Morrell.
Okay, let's take a look at our Miller Time game summary. O'Donnell, 250 yards. Collins, 145. That last one a beauty, though, to Lonnie Johnson. And the unexpected today, 2 rushes by the Jets in the second half. The ground game again has disappeared. I'll tell you another unexpected thing. Remember that game, week 2 meeting between these two? Jay Remersma tied in for Buffalo, 4th quarter touchdown to win it. Lonnie Johnson hoping the same result will occur here as O'Donnell throws it away in the face of pressure from Ted Washington.
And a real key, too, an unexpected thing to go along with that Miller highlight there is the whole fact of the game and you got a flag down thrown by Jerry Markwright in the middle of the sort of mingle that was going on. But I was going to make the point about the Jets losing both offensive tackles, David Williams and Jumbo Elliott. This is awfully late.
Intentional grounding. Number 14. 10-yard penalty. The down counts. 3rd down.
Does Jerry Markwright have a little watchman on his watch so he can see a replay to see what that was like? That was 30 seconds after the incompletion. Watch Neil O'Donnell. He's going to get some pressure from Ted Washington. And he does exactly what he's been criticized for not doing it. He throws it out of bounds. I mean, granted, he's inside the tackles. That's part of the criteria. But what I don't understand is the lateness, the tardiness of that. It's almost like somebody had to remind him, hey, you know, he was inside the tackles. Oh yeah, here's the flag.
So now 3rd and 20, and they have converted 3 of 11 on 3rd and long. O'Donnell's in the gun. Bruce Smith flushes in from the pocket. And he finds Wayne Crevette, but not enough for the first down.
O'Donnell's pass.
And Wayne Crevette.
Marlon Perry knocked him out.
13-yard gain.
Wayne Crevette kind of suffers from that same thing that Thurman Thomas had earlier, trying to make that cutback on this slick AstroTurf field and needed some of those AstroTurf cleats on the side of his shoe and his ankle to keep him up.
Brian Hansen to punt. There's Jeff Burris. Burris from the 14-yard line. Brings it straight ahead.
Burris on the return.
And the Bills will take over. They're leading the Jets 17-10. 10:48 remaining, 4th quarter, 17-10. Buffalo trying to knock O'Donnell, Johnson, and the Jets out of first place in the AFC East. They're in sole possession of that coming into today, but only a game lead over Miami and New England. New England is currently winning. Miami plays later today at Oakland. Incomplete. Otis Smith with a pretty good hit to knock the ball free from Andre Reed.
Pass intended for Andre Reed.
And don't forget, coming up next, game 2 of the doubleheader. Most of you see the Dolphins, Dan Marino and company against Jeff George and the Raiders. Others will see the Steelers take on the Cardinals. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Game 2 of the doubleheader. Up next here on NBC.
Jimmy Johnson, when reminded that the Dolphins had never won in Oakland, sort of had an oh yeah. He says, well, this Dolphin team's never played in Oakland.
Antoine Smith breaks free to the outside and is out of bounds with a Buffalo first down. Run out by Mickens. Hit in the original hole, nothing there, bounced outside and made it for 19 yards.
And this is the one thing the Jets defense does not want to see out of Antoine Smith and the Buffalo offense, is the resurgence of this ability to create when there isn't anything there. Because the defense stopped the original play, but they could not stop the creative end of Antoine Smith's run. This offense would love to pound the ball right now on the ground and start eating up some of this clock.
Clock shows 10 minutes, 11 seconds. Smith again, same sort of play, same sort of result. Antoine Smith close to the 40-yard line. Another Bills first down. Victor Green, that time the tackle.
And we talked earlier about Thurman Thomas and the great game he was having, and it was that little bit of a, you know, that spin in his get-along that was getting him around the outside. Well, Antoine Smith is using the fact that people see this big, powerful runner blast inside, then he must be a power runner. Don't make that mistake. Corbin Lucina got a nice block on Dwayne Gordon there. Got the runner outside. Don't underestimate this young man's speed.
25-year-old rookie, now 10 carries, 64 yards. Lonnie Johnson strikes again. This time tripped up at the 30, but it's another Buffalo first down. Otis Smith tripped him up. But suddenly, here in the fourth quarter, the Buffalo offense has awakened.
Well, in spurts today, Dan Henning and the coaches upstairs have done a great job of play calling for Todd Collins. And part of the execution has been the fact where Todd Collins has not been harassed at times by this Jets defense, has enabled him to read the defense, step up, and get the ball to his tight end there.
There's Dan Henning. If you saw the feature on Bill Parcells, Chris Collinsworth's interview on the pregame show today, that Parcells said that Dan Henning is one of his very best friends for 30 years. Thurman Thomas, short gain. There's Dan Henning.
And this offense we saw the halting nature of the performance by the offense that Bill Parcells is seeing right now. Todd Collins didn't go into this possession with very sparkling stats, but he has gone in with 2 touchdowns.
And the Bills' rushing game, so anemic a week ago, in fact in recent weeks, has 154 yards. Pressure on Collins, hit as he delivered by Mickens. It falls incomplete.
I was just about to say, it's one thing that Marv Levy has also seen is his team right now is on the positive side of the turnover ratio in this ball game. Something unusual for the football team, but watch Ray Mickens do a little parting of the sea action on his blitz. You see the line concerned with the backs and the backers, and no one's there to pick up Mickens, and he's about a half a step away from causing a fumble.
Now 3rd and 8. Draw play, Thomas. Thurman Thomas to the 20-yard line, close to the first down.
Thurman Thomas with the carry.
Let's see the spot of the football. It will be close.
Well, the near side is marking it on the downhill side of the middle stripe there on the 20-yard line.
And timeout for a measurement. Thurman Thomas with a season-high rushing today. 14 carries, 88 yards. A rejuvenated Thurman Thomas in this game. And 162 for the Bills to only 30 for the Jets, who have rushed only twice in the second half. It is first down, Buffalo.
And really, we've talked about at times how the Jets' offensive line has played fairly well for Bill Parcells. The Bills' offensive line that got such a bad rap from a lot of people, including us, over the last few weeks, it has really done a good job today of getting that running game going. Todd Collins on occasion has been pressured, but those big guys up front right there have gotten this running game going.
Well, reduced to the role of a spoiler in the AFC East race, the Bills so far are doing a pretty good job of it against the New York Jets. Collins looked off 2 men, then found Johnson. The minimal gain, though, wrapped up by Mo Lewis.
You talk about the looking off. One of the reasons he's able to look off is, unlike that one series where it seemed the Jets' pass rush suddenly had found its niche, look at the offensive line. I mean, that is literally a pocket, a cup to stand in and to throw the ball. You don't get to your 3rd or 4th receiver without your offensive line giving you a heck of an effort up front.
2nd and 8. Thomas somehow broke free and got it to the 15-yard line.
I'll tell you exactly how he does that. And if you're a young running back out there or you want to be a running back, watch what Thurman Thomas does. Watch his feet. When he gets in this pile, those feet never stop. Look at the feet move. Turn, turn, dig, dig. It's hard to arm grab. It's hard to tackle when you keep trying to hit a moving target. Watch the legs. Look at that. I mean, Ferrier's trying to get him. Mo Lewis is trying to get him, but the legs won't stop moving.
Collins for Johnson. Lonnie Johnson dragged down by Victor Green. Johnson suddenly has become a key receiver for Collins. There is a penalty marker on the play. No, maybe not. He picked up the flag, and so Lonnie Johnson, we were talking about his fourth quarter antics here. 4 catches, 82 yards, and the touchdown, all in this fourth period. Christie will attempt a field goal now, and it will be a 29-yard attempt. I don't know if the play clock, no, it did not. Nope.
Prior to the snap, ball start, number 68, offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Corbin Lucina.
He's on the near side right here. Watch him on the end. I mean, talking about a guard sticking out like a sore thumb. That little flinch. You know, linemen aren't used to being out there in air, especially guards. There's too much air around you. You start kind of shivering and quivering and get uncomfortable.
Speaking of shivering and quivering, it has gotten pretty chilly here. As now a 34-yard Christie attempt splits the uprights. So the Bills get 3. They also took over 5 minutes off the clock. Things looking dim for the Jets. Neil O'Donnell faces a 10-point deficit with 5:21 left. And Christie ready to kick off for the Bills. Johnson and Ward deep for the Jets. Johnson, 5-yard line. Hit hard and dropped it to 20. Mark Pike and Derek Holmes put a hurt on Leon Johnson.
I tell you, one of the keys today, the best special teams on the field are the Buffalo Bills. The New York Jets special teams has gotten slapped today.
Don't forget, after the second game of the football doubleheader, NBC tonight. After bloopers, it's the Holiday Comedy Classic, Chevy Chase and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. That's at 9/8 Central, NBC tonight, our favorite.
Oh, yeah. How did Dennis Quaid get ignored? The best supporting actor is the inbred brother-in-law.
O'Donnell. Plenty of time. That one sailed. Keyshawn Johnson calls for the flag. No flag forthcoming. He collided with Kurt Schultz. Ball and Schultz arriving simultaneously.
And really, the Jets ought to be happy that the officials aren't pointing the other direction on this play right here. Keyshawn Johnson lining up in the slot right here on the right side of the screen. Watch Schultz come in right at the end. At this point, it looks like he's open. Simultaneous arrival. You got to keep in mind that's slow motion. In real time, that is hitting bang, bang.
O'Donnell completes that one underneath. Wayne Krebet, Maddox, and Holisek right on him.
John Holisek and Mark Maddox making the stop.
And that last play, we talked about the fact that it was a bang, bang play. Here it is at real speed. This is how the officials see it. Now tell me if this looks early, late, what? It looks like he and the ball got there right at the same time.
And that's the way it was ruled. O'Donnell drills it. Jeff Graham makes the catch in traffic. O'Donnell put it right between 2 defenders, Jeff Burris and Henry Jones. Second catch for Graham. More importantly, 15 yards and a Jet first down.
No need to hurry for the Jets, but a sense of urgency would be nice right about now, down by 10 with 4 minutes to go.
Sideline again. Catch made by Krebet. Blasted out of bounds by Burris. And that's 6 catches on the day for Wayne Krebet.
And that short passing game that earlier seemed so predictable, at least on this drive, Neil O'Donnell's getting the protection. The Buffalo defense in general seems to be playing a little soft on Bill Parcells' offense, and O'Donnell's delivering the ball.
Down 10 at the 4:02 mark. Incomplete, intended for Ward. couldn't quite snag it. Ken Irvin had him blanketed. Bryce Paup was putting the pressure on.
And really a common theme on all these passes is not only close coverage, but the fact that the Jets are getting rid of this ball. They're not holding it. Dedrick Ward, 89, in the middle of that triple bunch there. Good defense by Irvin. A little hands-on, but good defense.
Chased, throws it away. Leon Johnson was close to it.
Bill Parcells right there has to take a deep breath after watching that pass.
And it's 4th down for New York.
There's absolutely no doubt right here. Down by 10 with just under 4 minutes to go. You go for it here on 4th down. And the guy really in these situations all year long has been Wayne Chrebet.
It's 4th and 7. O'Donnell chased. Intercepted. No, he was out of bounds. It doesn't matter. The Bills will get the ball anyway. Ken Irvin caught the ball but was out of bounds. But it will go over on downs to Buffalo. Once again, Bryce Paup had chased Neil O'Donnell from the pocket. And Bill Parcells, somewhat of a prophet, unfortunately for him, saying we could just as easily lose the last 4 as win the last 4. And certainly the Buffalo Bills all but eliminated from the playoffs. But no quit in them. Played hard all day long, as Bruce Smith promised us they would.
And they got the pressure there from the defensive line. And Bill Parcells needed the A effort. The A game is what the Jets need every week. They're nowhere near good enough to bring the B or C game and beat anybody.
Thurman Thomas.
Thurman Thomas, the ball carrier.
20-10 with almost 3:30 left, and as soon as Glenn Foley is able to play again, what do? Do you put him back in the lineup? Do you stay with O'Donnell? O'Donnell had been praised somewhat by Bill Parcells last week. In fact, he told us yesterday that O'Donnell was better than he had been all season long about this time. That was before today's game, and I think the pressure on O'Donnell was the telling factor in today's game. So maybe the quarterback controversy about to reemerge as the Jets get set to face the Colts next week.
Well, Bill Parcells said he wasn't very comfortable with his quarterback situation, and part of that lack of comfort is the fact that Glenn Foley gets the job and lasts about a game and a half and goes down with an injury. Now you got a coach has to be a little bit gun-shy about putting the guy back in. Is he going to last? Is he going to get hurt? Do I have to worry about having to put the other guy back in again because he gets hurt? And then I have to worry about his psyche.
Right.
So, people complain about coaches nowadays making so much money, getting up near player salaries.
Jets taking the timeout. Neil O'Donnell told us yesterday that, he asked how you stayed positive, how you didn't get sour, how you didn't get your feelings hurt. Now, all those things happen when you're replaced by someone else when you thought you were doing a pretty good job. And he said the fact that the team was winning made it easier to stay positive and just work as hard as you could. Said I hadn't run the scout team in a long time, but try to just hang in there, stay positive, because life in the NFL, things can turn around in a hurry.
Well, there's only one criteria that matters with the New York Jets, period. And that's Bill Parcells' criteria, and that's not in any book you're going to find. That's what he thinks. And his criteria is the team's got to score, and his team does not turn the ball over. And that's why Neil O'Donnell was taken out. He had turned the ball over some, and his team, the offense hadn't scored when he had it.
And, of course, the offensive line is a question mark no matter who is under center at the moment. O'Donnell has been chased, granted, by one of the best defensive lines in the business here today.
Well, David Williams has the chronic back problem, and if Jumbo Elliott's Achilles problem is serious, look out.
So sort of a patchwork makeshift offensive line for New York today, and it did tell as Thurman Thomas rambles for another Buffalo first down, and the Jets are down to their final timeout, so that was a big first down pickup by Thurman Thomas.
Well, Thurman Thomas and Antoine Smith have benefited greatly from some blocking up front from this offensive line, opening holes. Dusty Ziegler, Reuben Brown, Corbin Lucina, John Fina. I mean, these guys have done a very nice job against whoever Bill Belichick and the defensive staff have put in there, because you've seen a lot of bodies for the Jets play defense, but they've all seen the same thing. Jets running backs going the wrong way.
And Thurman Thomas, for the first time this season, has rushed for over 100 yards. Here's his replacement, the rookie Antoine Smith. Dragged down by Otis Smith. But Thurman Thomas, boy, he looked good today, too. Right from the very first play. Thurman Thomas with 17 carries, 101 yards on the afternoon. He ought to get a game ball. Time stopped for the 2-minute warning. Thurman Thomas back on the field after rushing for 101 yards. In fact, all told today, Bills running backs 31 rushes, 190 yards. In fact, Todd Collins, not a running back, even got a piece of that with some positive yardage. Thomas adds to that total. It's the 52nd 100-yard rushing game in the brilliant career of Thurman Thomas. Again, drew high praise from Bill Parcells yesterday, and of course, Marv Levy, his own coach, has said throughout the season that not only was Thurman, who gets a great hand here as he leaves the field, not only has he still shown flashes of brilliance, but he has done his best to bring along his rookie teammate, Antoine Smith. Bill Parcells said he was really a special player, a high compliment, and unfortunately for Parcells' Jets, it was true today for Thurman Thomas, as they had a fine game. Antoine Smith, as we approach the 1-minute mark, as the Bills will beat the Jets for the 18th time in their last 21 meetings.
And this will make them 2-5, Tom, in the AFC East, 6-0 against everybody else. But, you know, Bill Parcells made that comment to us yesterday. You know, we win these next two, we put an awful lot of pressure on everybody else in the AFC East. Well, you've lost this one to Buffalo, a game you honestly should have won, and you put an awful lot of pressure on yourself.
Indianapolis next week, and then two toughies, Tampa Bay and Detroit. Detroit playing really well lately. Meanwhile, at last report from New England, the Colts had closed, I think, within a field goal with only a minute or so remaining. But if it's the final now, final 20-17, New England wins. So New England and New York in a tie with Miami, a chance to join them in the second half of our doubleheader.
In that second half of the doubleheader, Miami and Jimmy Johnson have got to be in that locker room right now, getting ready to kick that thing off, or on the field saying, hey, look, we got our shot. The door's open. Can we walk through it?
Buffalo wins 20-10. We'll be back for final comments in just a moment.